Straight Talk Society. This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk with Trevor.
Because the ladies from Pour Your Heart Out
no topic
will be over
is
here
off
to
limits.
join the panel.
Plus, but it's a must, you gon' respect this. Plus, your nuts will touch the dust, you try to check this. You ain't
The
insane.
MMA brothers, Bones and Zay, have pre and post shows to the MMA shows. And I am your host, Mr. Straight Talk, the man with the greatest beard on YouTube. Oh, I love throwing that in there. Real quick, I am back on Facebook. I guess they took me out of jail. I was able to connect the channel back. Those of you on Facebook, make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Man Talk Monday. This is the flagship show of the Straight Talk Society. This is the show that you're going to get all your, drama topics. This is a show that you may get your arguments. This is a show where we're going to talk about not one specific thing, but we dabble around the world of pop culture and the men just banter about it. So that's what this show is. But if this show isn't for you, and I don't know why it wouldn't be, but we also have other shows. The highly acclaimed Tape Fist Politics, Venkat, Mike, MD, and Ricardo do such a fantastic job with that. That's every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Hey, if that doesn't fancy your boat, then be sure to tune into Wrestling with Reality. Today we have the return of Straight Talk Therapy Sessions with the one and only Dr. Mia. So y'all be sure and tune into that. So tonight we have a fantastic show tonight, the Straight Talk Society. We will not go over that 2.5 hour mark. So Mike, you ain't got no shirt on, right?
I never have clothes on, bro.
But I'm saying you like right on the like crazy.
My bad. I don't like clothes, bro. Anybody that knows me, my
crazy.
Yeah, about to have me some Duckton. What the What the heck? What the heck? I had my mouth. What the
Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about a believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
Let us be aware that while they preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, and predict its eventual domination of all peoples on the earth, they are the focus of evil in the modern world. It was C.S. Lewis who in his unforgettable screw tape letters wrote, "The greatest evil is not done now in those sordid dens of crime that Dickens loved to paint. It is not even done in concentration camps and labor camps. In those we see its final result. But it is conceived and ordered, moved, seconded, carried, and minuted in clear, carpeted, warmed, and well-lighted offices by quiet men with white collars and cut fingernails and smooth-shaven cheeks who do not need to raise their voice. But because these quiet men do not raise their voices, because they sometimes speak in soothing tones of brotherhood and peace, because like other dictators before them, they're always making their final territorial demand, some would have us accept them at their word and accommodate ourselves to their aggressive impulses. But if history teaches anything, it teaches that simple-minded appeasement or wishful thinking about our adversaries is folly. It means the betrayal of our past, the squandering of our freedom. So I urge you to speak out against those who would place the United States in a position of military and moral inferiority. You know, I've always believed that old Screwtape reserved his best efforts for those of you in the church. So in your discussions of the nuclear freeze proposals, I urge you to beware the temptation of pride, the temptation of blithely declaring yourselves above it all, and label both sides equally at fault, to ignore the facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire, to simply call the arms race a giant misunderstanding, and thereby remove yourself from the struggle between right and wrong and good and evil.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
Alright, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Niggas, you crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Stay shut your mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I did.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical. Hold it.
Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again."
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by with your
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life to her. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You gotta come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
Sarcastically.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
Oh, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of Tape Fist Politics. This is episode number 5. Before we get into anything else, just want to introduce the world's most dangerous panel in politics. What's up, MD?
Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, man? MD checking in once again. What's happening, y'all?
All right. What's going on to the wildest guy on YouTube, Michael? Oh, I guess Mike ain't on yet. All right. Well, tonight is. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't go by your other name. I'm sorry.
Otros, which is Spanish for others.
Oh, there you go. What's going on, Mike?
Gracias. I'm good. No complaints. I'm just trying to do a little parenting.
Oh, okay. I hear you. Okay. Well, tonight is episode 5. Tonight, our lead story is going to be Clarence Troublesome, aka Clarence Thomas. Let's go ahead and get into the show lineup tonight. All right, and now we have on the panel Ricardo. What's up, Ricardo?
What's up, everybody? Good.
All right. Great to have you. Great to have you on tonight. All right, so tonight, episode 5, TFP. Lead story is we're going to be discussing Clarence Thomas. Also, what's going on in political news. We're going to look at the Republican primary poll, like a recent poll from the Republican primary. We'll analyze that. Of course, we have our lame duck session underway. And then State of the Union, we're going to be discussing immigration. And the nightcap video, we'll look at a video dealing with the 14th Amendment. So now that we have everyone on the panel up, let's go ahead right into our lead story. And like I said, it was Clarence Thomas. So let's just get a little back information on Clarence Thomas and tonight's lead story.
We also have been talking about this bombshell report that came out from ProPublica, appearing to reveal that for years, Justice Clarence Thomas has secretly accepted luxury gifts from a GOP mega donor, Harlan Crow. Gifts like private jet flights, luxury yacht cruises. And according to the report, the Supreme Court justice never reported them on annual financial disclosures. Well, that's a problem. The details are quite remarkable, and the images tell a story of how the conservative-leaning judge accepted these lavish getaways to Indonesia, New Zealand, a posh lakeside resort in the remote Adirondack Mountains there in New York. Well, our senior Washington correspondent, Devin Dwyer, has all the details from the report. I'll tell you what, these are some serious violations.
Alleged violations, meticulous reporting, though. You know ProPublica, Kira, it's a very distinguished news outlet, and these trips that you talked about have been going on allegedly for more than 20 years. And that is what this story, on top of several others, Kara, you and I have talked about, only going to raise calls now for greater transparency.
Yeah, now calls for impeachment even.
Impeachment. Democrats today, they've been leveling calls against Thomas for years. This is going to amplify them. We saw that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez today said this is corruption, this is shocking, almost cartoonish. She tweeted she's demanding impeachment. That's perhaps not surprising from some on the left.
Right.
What is interesting, though, Senate Judiciary Committee Dick Durbin, he's the head of the Judiciary Committee. He says legislation is the answer here. They have it on the table to require these justices to have enforceable ethics standards. He says they're going to go there.
Clarence Thomas must resign.
I'm just a civil servant.
And if he doesn't, well, if there was ever a case to impeach a Supreme Court justice, this is it. For years, Thomas failed to disclose flights on private jets, super yacht trips, and stays at resorts he received as gifts from a Republican megadonor, even though the Supreme Court has no legally binding code of ethics, and justices remain among the least accountable people in our government. Legal experts claim that Thomas violated federal disclosure laws when he failed to report the free travel he was gifted. But at the very least, He's violated the public's trust and corruptly exploited his position of power to subsidize a life of luxury. Enough is enough. Supreme Court justices clearly can't be trusted to police themselves, and Chief Justice Roberts has shown little interest in holding justices to account for numerous conflicts of interest.
The most complete accounting yet of the high life of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas shows much, much more than previously known. More private jets, more fancy vacations, more sporting events, all gifts from mega-rich businessmen and documented through public and private records, plus interviews by ProPublica.
Justice Thomas has been living a life of extreme luxury for 30 years, underwritten by at least 4 different ultra-wealthy benefactors.
Earlier reports have revealed lavish gifts to Thomas, including a house for his mother and this 9-day vacation in Indonesia from conservative billionaire Harlan Crow.
I've come from regular stock.
List of benefactors includes 3 more names, according to ProPublica: David Sokol, Wayne Huizenga, and Tony Novelli. The report says the 4 moguls collectively treated Thomas to 38 destination vacations, including a previously unreported voyage on a yacht around the Bahamas, 26 private jet flights.
ProPublica is out with more new reporting on Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. According to ProPublica, Justice Thomas secretly attended at least 2 donor events for the Koch network over the years. That's the powerful conservative political organization supported by the billionaire Koch brothers. As ProPublica points out, quote, that puts Thomas in the extraordinary position of having served as a fundraising draw for a network that has brought cases before the Supreme Court, including one of the most closely watched of the upcoming term.
Yeah, so, to give you an example, where the Koch network has these annual summits for donors, you have to give at least $100,000 to even get an invite. Some people give millions out in Palm Springs every winter. And Justice Thomas went to one of these summits to have dinner with the donors. Judges we spoke to, judicial ethics experts, said this is just totally beyond the pale in terms of what a judge should be doing. Judges aren't supposed to be involved in either politics or fundraising, and this is essentially both.
All of the gifts, which in many cases Thomas did not disclose, coming from these 4 billionaires on your screen. ProPublica estimating that the value of these gifts is likely millions of dollars. You have a lot of detail about what is a very opulent lifestyle, right? It's not as if it was just a vacation here and there. This was essentially, from your reporting, a lifestyle. Tell us more of what you found.
Yeah, look, Supreme Court justices make around $300,000 a year, which is a salary I think most people would be happy with. But what we found is that Justice Thomas, through this set of billionaires, has really been living the lifestyle, essentially, of a billionaire.
Tell us about these men. They are all men, these billionaires that help finance Thomas's lifestyle. And obviously they're billionaires. So to be a billionaire, you're very, very big in an industry. I mean, how is the Supreme Court relevant and play a role in their lives?
Yeah, so the first is Harlan Crow, who made his fortune in Dallas in real estate, actually inherited his fortune originally in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have an oil company founder, a private equity executive, the late Wayne Huizenga, who owned Blockbuster Video, and for a time he owned the Miami Dolphins. Some of these men Justice Thomas met through a charity called the Horatio Alger Society, which gives out scholarships to students. But that's how some of the relationships began, and then they sort of escalated to where these men are just, showering him with vacations and other gifts. We have not found any cases where they've had where any of these men have actually had cases heard by the Supreme Court.
Right.
Supreme Court actually hears very few cases, so it's unusual to be a litigant. But they all have business interests that are affected massively by the court, and they're also all Republican political donors who have ideological interests. And I think one of the questions raised by this is, if somebody's paying for your luxury vacations repeatedly, I certainly would feel some sense of obligation to that person, so I think there's a question of influence there.
Okay, so there's a huge chunk of information there, a lot of questions to ask, a lot of things to ponder about this, but essentially we have a Supreme Court justice, a judge that's in the highest court in the land, pretty much compromised and is now being utilized as a tool, or has been utilized for the last few decades as a tool. So I want to get our views on this. I'm going to start with MD first. MD, what do you think about Clarence Thomas in this situation?
All right, so I guess all I really got to say is, or what I'm trying to figure out is what. So is Clarence Thomas not a registered Republican?
He is
Does it,
he is a Republican.
okay, all right, cool. So what conflict of interest would there be if we're talking about the Supreme Court justice that's bound by the Constitution, yet we don't see any special interest as to the court cases that he's come under and solidified any type of ordinance to these particular people that's showering him with gifts. I would say that it's of no significance in terms of the job that he's doing. Now check this out. Clarence Thomas is part of an original stock. He's an original Negro in the United States. Clarence Thomas from Pinpoint, Georgia, Gullah Geechee territory. You can't get no blacker than that. He blacker than me. When we talk about the stuff that he's under scrutiny for, it's largely to deal with the absence of what we look at as identity politics. Now that's just my opinion. You can disagree, that's fine. When it comes to these special, well, I ain't even gonna call them special interest groups because they individuals at the end of the day. It's just people paying him to do events, stuff like that. Again, the article said it. The Supreme Court is not under no strict code of ethics when it comes to stuff like that. He ain't under no obligation to outline these expenses. So as a person that's under the Constitution, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so you have a guy that is overseeing as one of the judges in the Supreme Court. The people that are backing him are connected to other groups, politically connected groups that have agendas and initiatives. He is a judge that will have to vote yay or nay on many of those things that come across, to the Supreme Court. So if you have someone funneling gifts, money, whatever, to a guy, you don't think that, especially after a long period of time, we're talking 30 years, that if the day comes that something is indirectly or directly connected to one of his donors or a person that the donor is connected to, because there's always a connection for a connection for a connection, that if one of those cases come by, first of all, he didn't disclose any of this information willingly, which he was supposed to. So that's the first red flag. The secondly, so if some case or person that's connected to his donors, if that case comes across his desk, is he going to do the right thing? He already showed he wouldn't. He didn't say anything. He just acted like nothing happened. So that can compromise the legitimacy of the court itself. So I don't know. I just think it's weird.
Here's where you're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong. You're wrong in the sense that when we're talking about so let's go back and look at these donors, right? We're talking about economically influenced donors. Supreme Court ain't got nothing to do with economics. That's the Ninth Circuit. So you're talking about the wrong court. All Clarence Thomas is doing is doing stuff based off the Constitution. Nothing's in the Constitution based on economics. So we're talking about the wrong court. Second, they lie, and it was actually a report that came out about this. They lied when he was talking about he was supposed to disclose those vacation. No, he wasn't, because it was all gift notated. So he never was obligated. Again, that goes back to Code of Ethics, Clause 7 in U.S. Code. He don't have to do it. He even mentioned that. That's how cold with the Constitution he is. He even mentioned it. Again, you can't. can't. It's nothing that you can say or do. Now, this ain't me defending Clarence Thomas. I do believe he's a great American by the things that he's done via his vote. What type of person he is, I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? But through his vote, I give him credit based on his constitutional record. Now, again, that was the main. Now this me going into my shtick. The mainstream
Yeah.
media tried to put out a witch hunt on Clarence Thomas, and it didn't work. He shot it down. That's why nobody can come out with an impeachment doctrine on him, because it's not there. It's physically not there. So I'm glad we having this lead to discussion today, because I'm going to be able to shoot down a lot of claims that a lot of people are making.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Clarence Thomas, one of the greatest Americans in all of the history of the Supreme Court.
Wow. I don't know about that.
You're gonna have to bring up Thurgood, his predecessor before him.
Oh, Thurgood was off the chain as well.
I was just about to say, you think Clarence is way better than Thurgood that he replaced in 1991?
The only reason being is Clarence Thomas has a longer record than Thurgood. That's all. In terms of impact cases, that's it.
So what are your views on this, Ricardo, as far as Clarence Thomas compromised involvement with briberies, gifts over a period of decades?
See, it's a polarizing topic for me. For me, when it comes to, if you're gonna sit on the highest court of the land, it's like one of them things where I kind of have to hold your foot. It's a man. Okay, so if you're gonna be presiding over some of the most important cases this country will ever face, you would have to walk a very careful line in terms of how you delegate yourself. Pretty much you'd have to be a saint at that particular point, because you can't be doing, it's kind of like, I equate it to you being like, or rather, if you're going to be like the head of the church or be a pastor or something, you can't have no controversies under your belt, period. There's no way you could then look back at me and then go, oh, but you're going to preach to me and then you're going to do the complete opposite of what you're doing. It's kind of like how it's coming across with him. So it's kind of like a tit for tat in a sense. It's really a delicate line when it comes to him and what he's doing. Ethically, it's wrong. And there's no way that anyone could say it's not. You can't be taking things, amount of funds, you can't be taking certain amount of trips and not report it. There's no way it's gonna look good on paper for you. You could say whatever you want to say. You could say, oh, it's not something he has to report. It doesn't look good on his record, period. Now, yes, MD does have a point. He didn't have to disclose it, but at the same time, why would you not want to? And this is my issue with politicians in general, as well as people who are on the Supreme Court, as well as everybody else. You don't get to be on the highest position that you will have in terms of delegating this country court-wise, in terms of jurisdictions and whatnot. And then you're going to then say, oh, but then he doesn't have to disclose this, or he doesn't have to. You're damn right you have to disclose it. You have a moral obligation. Your moral compass has to come into play here, because when you then do this, it then sneeze on or then frowns on like people like I know you know who. I'm not going to say his name. We all know who that is. That just recently came up in the news about a couple hours ago. When he does something, and then he's going to look back and then say, but you see, Clarence was able to do it, so therefore I should get away with it. That's the kind of thing we're trying to run from. This is where, if you're going to say we're a constitutionalist and all of that, this is what they're trying to avoid, is where you have the complicitness, and then you have issues that come about in terms of like this kind of situation with Clarence. Now, with that being stated, Clarence did rule a fair amount of cases where it's kind of polarizing. So it's either you work either for the cases or against. His track record in time before, he is, I hate to say it as well, one of the strongest, if not the probably the originals, as MD mentioned. He is the most conservative person in the court system on the highest court line. So he is looked at. He's going to be scrutinized, and he's going to looked at. What's the word I'm looking for? He's going to be. They're going to zero in more on him, more so because of his viewpoints, as well as his political leanings. But we all know he's already conservative. So, I mean, what else are they going to come up with? There's no smoking gun here that I could feel like they could get him out with. He will have to leave on his own time. Now, if he did violate certain rules, I am afraid that he has to leave. And that's all I'm going to say. That's it.
Ricardo, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Did he not disclose the information about these trips when he took this picture? When he said, "Hey, y'all, look at me. I'm with my white wife in Indonesia with all my mulatto grandchildren." Did he not disclose it then?
No, because he's just taking a picture. He didn't specifically say that this guy right here is flipping the bill. He's just taking a picture.
Didn't say that he did.
But what business is that of me and yours? If it's no interest in what he has to do politically with what the Supreme Court does, like none whatsoever, 0%, and you can't prove it.
But
again,
MD,
the Supreme Court is not dealing with anything economical for any corporation. They don't do that.
The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and the decisions they make affect lives, whether economic or however you want to break it down. And these people that are funding him, they damn sure have agendas economically and beyond. And they can go into his ear and sway and influence vote, potentially, not saying that it did. It's a strong case that it did. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not a good look overall. And when you go into being a Supreme Court judge, the confirmation process, it addresses ethics, it addresses your history, it addresses you as a person in general. So those things can't matter in the beginning, but don't matter in the job when you're doing it in the end.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Something
cool. Right,
got to be real.
I got you. Okay, one last question. I'm gonna let Mike go off, right? What's the difference between what Clarence Thomas did as a registered Republican, as opposed to what any other politician does when they do fundraising, Democrat or Republican? What's the difference?
Well, the difference is he's a Supreme Court judge, so he shouldn't be doing what the regular. I'm just saying. It's a different. The Supreme Court is supposed to be the one place where it's supposed to be, where you're not dealing with political biases and blah blah blah. It's
who you gonna deal with? Who you gonna deal with first, the Supreme Court or your local legislature?
I get what you're saying there, MD. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, as far as you're trying to say that the responsibilities between a congressman or a senator is the same as Supreme Court judge, and it's not. It's a different level.
Oh, I agree with that.
Different
I agree.
responsibilities.
The level. I agree 100% what you just said. What I'm saying is you can't show me a difference between state rep Pastor Porkchop going to a local event to fundraise for a campaign with special interest groups involved versus what Clarence Thomas did. As a matter of fact, I'm telling you that there's a closer copulation between the special interest groups and the local legislation versus Clarence Thomas, because in all likelihood, your case going all the way to the highest court, based on whatever the reason, is not probable in the sense of it being something major. That's all I'm saying.
Ricardo, anything on that?
No, sir. I'm waiting for Mr. Mike.
Okay.
Go.
Mike, viewpoint on Clarence Thomas, conflicts of interest?
Mr. Other.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Others. Oh, he may not be here. Mike, you there? Oh, he might not be. Okay. I guess he's not available at the moment. Okay, so MD, so is there any part of Clarence Thomas's involvement being linked to these billionaires? Any part of it at all? That the optics, the visual, the whatever, just any aspect of this that you don't see a trouble in this?
No, because I can't point to a Supreme Court case that correlates with the activity. So no, I just can't do it. I can't play pre-call like Tom Cruise and think something might happen versus something happening. You know, I can't do that. The Constitution doesn't allow me to do that.
See, like if I'm, I mean, we have situations where, like, if you have a plight with something, you go through like maybe the court system, or you go to the principal or whoever, right? Like you could say, hey, you know, this, I've been wrong this way, blah blah blah, and the person you're venting and going towards to telling them, hey, this is wrong, what happened to me, and the person that did the wrong to you is connected to that person you're venting to. And now you're at the mercy of a person that could be compromised or swayed a certain direction just because of their affiliation with that other person. Human beings are deeply flawed. We've seen where, well, we're just gonna let decency just play out and see where it goes. It doesn't work. With us, you gotta have straight lines. And we got to have barriers, and we have to set those barriers and those lines so that we're not either tempted or we're not involved in trying to do. We've already seen just this year alone the amount of politicians that are either going to jail, been in jail, getting out of jail, or soon to be in jail. And it's just like all these corrupted individuals are getting exposed right now, and it's like, I think having a potential for any kind of corruption to happen, just having that back door open for that is problematic. There's so many people in the country that could fill that spot in that seat for the judge. I don't think we need.
I agree with you.
I don't think we need. Yeah, I don't think we need people that are sitting in that. There's only 9 of them. So if you got 9, they better be the up best 9, squeaky clean, everything.
Squeaky clean.
You know what I'm saying?
But here where your argument drops on a cliff, right? We do have a barrier. We do have a fence, so to speak, that garners that type of onus to responsibility, and it's called the Constitution. Now here's the kicker. The Constitution, from the aspect of anything legislative or the sense of them versus us mentality, the Constitution usually goes on the side of conservatism. Here's another kicker. If we're talking about rejecting or trying to put onus on a situation where he's not allowed to affiliate himself, whether it be through gifts, monetarily, it don't really matter, because he's not a political figure in that sense, where he's not allowed to go to fundraisers or be revered for his work from a conservative aspect. Again, he's not a politician. Then I would argue you're trying to break or tear from the outfit that the conservative aspect of the Constitution lays its head around. Again, he's not a political actor. He just ain't. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna go that route, you're gonna have to show me the track record of him doing something that goes against constitutionally, now that goes against his conservative outfit in the form of special interest. And I don't think you can show that.
Okay, but in the video piece with the journalist was explaining, how he attended multiple fundraising events, very political environments and whatnot. Now, you're a Supreme Court judge. You're not supposed to be involved in that type of activity.
Why not?
He's right there in the mix of it.
Why can't he be involved in that activity?
Because
he's not. So you're saying, so you're telling me, even though based on his track record, he's always been down the middle when it comes to constitutionality.
Of course
So
not.
that means
he's a huge suspect individual.
You're gonna have to prove that, Venkat. You're gonna have to prove it. You're gonna have to prove it. But what I'm telling you is, so you're telling me he's not allowed to have political affiliation. That's basically what you're saying.
But why would
when you're in that seat? No.
Right.
You're above the Supreme Court is supposed to be above that. More so than the senators.
True,
more so, yes, it is.
But
the Supreme Court. Okay. Oh.
Do Supreme Court justices not vote?
They do vote.
Hey, you can vote. That's not the issue.
Right.
But
so what's the issue,
actively,
Venkat? What's the issue, Venkat?
The issue is actively politicking for candidates, raising money for causes and whatnot. You're the guy that sit there to make the decision. You're not the guy that's gonna rally and make people do things. You're supposed to just make decisions on cases, and
So
impartiality is important. What's that?
So they live in hypocrites. Then they're allowed to vote, but they're not allowed to express their political affiliation. That don't make no sense.
Not when you're in that seat. Not when you're in that seat.
That doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. You know it, and I know it. That's why I said political justices are not political figures. They're not. They're normal people like you and me. The only reason that they're there is to be down the middle when it comes to constitutionality in cases. That's it. Nobody never said they can't root for the home team. Nobody ever said that.
They also say don't buy the home team
I think you
stadium and uniforms.
So again, I think you got the different court systems mixed up. They're not bound to any sort of ethic, and they said it right there in the camera roll. They're not bound to stuff like that because that's not what they're there for. They're there for the Constitution. That's it. You can go blue, go red, whichever one you want.
Yeah, but why?
But when this case comes down, you have to argue it based on what the Constitution said, and that's what they go by. Now it's going to be conservative leaning, or it's going to be liberal leaning. More often than not, based on how the Constitution is worded, that's why we intertwine conservatism with the Constitution, because the Constitution doesn't deal with morality of groups or a system of collectivism. So that's more conservative on the base end. That's why you have a person like Clarence Thomas, and he's done it every time.
Go ahead, Ricardo. You were replying. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So, what about the Bill of Rights then, in that particular aspect as well? Doesn't it not intertwine with the Constitution itself? Because the two go hand in hand.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get your point, but what specifically with the Bill of Rights are we speak? Because again, even the Bill of Rights, you still have to deal with the individual aspect. It's no collective backing in the Bill of Rights either. So, I mean, I get your point.
Yeah, that's what. But what I'm saying is, because you're saying, but he doesn't have to. In a sense, why not recluse yourself then? Because I see what you're saying. The point that you're trying to emphasize is that there's nothing there that says in the Constitution that he has to do certain things. But at the same length and breath, you are appointed by I would say the people, but in a sense, it's really
you knew the right answer. Go on, say it.
So, but but in an aspect-wise sense, why would you want to be at a fundraiser or whatnot? Your job is to delegate or to specifically rule a case. Why skew it when you don't need it? That's my issue with it. It's ethically, it's not right. It still doesn't. I see what you're saying from the point of view of what you're saying from the constitutional aspect, MD, yes. But Why would you want to be at a political rally when you are appointed the highest position on the land for jurisdiction? It to me, it still screams you are in. It's ethically, it's not right, but I get what you're saying. But still, no, you have to figure out what again. Like I said,
you want to know the answer to that?
If you're going to be a pastor of a church, why would you then be doing unethical things and then come and preach to me? That's the same exact kind of thing he's doing. You can't.
Well, that's Warnock that.
And doing that doesn't make sense. He's gonna he's gonna face that.
Now
issue.
go ahead, finish the point.
No, that was my point. I mean, he's gonna face that issue because they're gonna come at him and say, "Well, you knew better because you're on the Supreme Court. Your job is to delegate rule in or for or against certain things. Why are you? We know you're conservative. You don't need to scream and shout and put up a flag and say, "Oh, I'm conservative. I've always been." We know you are. Why do you need to put yourself in compromising positions where it now violates what you're doing?
It's not violating anything. And here's the answer. We know that he's conservative, but not only is he conservative, he's a conservative superstar. Therefore, he can book in wrestling terms. So he can make money. That's what it's really about. You gonna pay me how much to be at this dinner? I'm there. That's what it's about.
And
that's not gonna work for me, brother.
Yeah,
well, yeah, it's not gonna work for you because you ain't on the winning team. Again, what I'm telling you is he's not bound under any political ethical offense. He's not. No Supreme Court is. They regular people like you and me. The only time they get down to business is when they sit down and get down to the case from a constitutionality aspect. That's it. You ain't gonna be able to argue me down about it. Other than that, he could be at the next Trump rally, just like Sotomayor can be at the next Biden rally.
That would not be a good look, right there.
But can't nobody stop it. Nobody can stop it. I'm just being honest.
Okay, MD. So, what do you feel like these Supreme Court judges? They have a lifetime appointments. What's your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
They shouldn't have it. I agree 100%.
They shouldn't have it.
They shouldn't have lifetime appointments.
What would be the right amount of time?
Every presidential term.
Oh, that often. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Every president should have
a decade.
Every president should have the right to appoint a Supreme Court. That's my opinion.
I see what you're saying. Like have new
that way you balance. That's where you balance the scale.
Right.
Every term.
I agree with that. I kind of agree with that too. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I mean, it's essentially the Supreme Court should be a part of the cabinet, to in layman's terms. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Instead of these career judge.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like what? And again, this goes back to your point. The president is the one appointing the judges, and they appointing them based off of their track record, liberal versus conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if you're doing that, and then another one comes in, and then we had a standstill when it comes to concurring and dissenting, why have that? Just appoint your own damn hell. The people that don't think you should be in there is gonna be mad whatever you do anyway. So hell, let them be mad at the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
That should be part of, because I mean the biggest cases in the Supreme Court usually go off of legislation, right? So if they're going off of legislation, why not have them just be based on what the House is saying? Let them be the end all be all when it comes to the deciding factor of certain legislation. You do it anyway.
Yeah, that's
we
it.
would all be dead.
What'd you say, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
All it would take is one. Matter of fact, all it would take was Trump's presidency and him to elect a full cabinet of his own judges, and not Roe v. Wade would have been the least of their concern. They would have had us back in chains. I'm not kidding. They would have killed us, and they would have showed you what individualism truly is, and it had you individually cleaning the house. I promise.
You're gonna have to show me that in the
If you do it your
Constitution,
way,
sir.
sir, if you change the law to where they can make their own SCOTUS every election, where they can pick their own people, and they're the final say in all the laws, what's gonna stop DeSantis from saying these Negroes are out of their place? We need to put them back where they belong and run the whole country like a plantation again.
Hey, but Mike, I think I think it would have to be an element of like overlap, like
Right.
maybe.
No, the man did not say overlap. He said pick them like a cabinet. That's what he said.
Well, no, I mean like
Right,
well,
yeah.
every
Let me explain, Venkat. Let me
Yeah,
explain.
yeah, go
I'm
ahead,
saying,
go
yeah,
ahead.
pick them like a cabinet. But the only cases, just like Roe v. Wade was based on an individual court case through legislation, right? It ain't like we saying, okay, every bill that comes on the House floor, the Supreme Court is the end all. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when there's dissension between a certain bill from Republicans and Democrats, or from an individual entity like affirmative action was. Affirmative action was through University of North Carolina, one of the cases. Where you have aspects of that nature, that's where Supreme Court would be end all be all. Not every bill. So I wasn't saying that.
Sir, that's just you talking. If I'm the president, whatever the rules are, I'm the president. I can change them. I will make an executive order that says now SCOTUS can do this. Now they are they're the final for every bill. Now
you can't do that. You have to do that through amendment. That's got to be through amendment, Mike. You fantasize.
Saying, oh,
you doom and gloom.
I'm not doom and gloom. I'm what I am is a person that looks at how people move, and I judge their future off of it. Republicans do what the hell they want. They always have. They've been doing this since Ronald, and that's the only person I can go back to because that's how old I was. They do what they want, and they're doing it more lately.
Yes, that's very
they do
true.
what they want. Hello, the man is literally going to donor functions.
Shout out to Maria G. Mike, she gave you you're right again. She said you're right.
Yeah,
shout out to Maria G.
In the
Thank
chat.
you. Maria G is
right
obviously a person
right about what? She's wrong. I'm telling you she's wrong. She don't know what she's talking about.
Well, I like Maria more than I like you right now, so I don't believe you. But it's the fact. Like, yo, do you remember when they said? When they were like, well, you can't do that many executive decisions, and then Obama did a bunch, and then Trump said, watch me, hold my beer.
Right.
Anything you say, I can change it.
True.
Anything you say. Oh, guess what? That super majority, get that out of here. Oh,
not to the Supreme Court structure, you can't.
There is no structure if I can change everything. All it takes is one cycle of them having control. All it takes is one cycle after a black president where all the whites come out and go, this is bullshit. No more of these Negroes. And now every red state person is in there. And they might just be mad for the weekend. But now we stuck with these dudes for 2, for 4, for 6 years, for 8 years. And now they stuck in office.
And
they're going to do as much damage as they can until they're out.
Yeah, true.
And then the blue people, they come in and all they're doing is just what Obama did. I'm just trying to fix the problems they made. I'm trying to fix the issues they made. That's all he did for his first term was trying to fix Bush's bullshit.
Yep.
That was his whole first term.
I can't argue with that one.
I can't argue with it either. And this
talking about doom and gloom. This is what they do.
And these are the same people, MD, that thought Birth of a Nation is a national treasure. Like, are you kidding me right now? Really?
Right. We ain't talking about Woodrow. We talking about what's going on now.
No, but that said Birth of a Nation is a national treasure to this country. Are you kidding me right now? So again, he does have a point. Like if they have the opportunity, they will do stuff just so that they can do it. And they're gonna say we have the majority, let's do it anyways. And that's what they're proving in terms of point wise right at this very moment.
Yo, I bet after they give him $100 million, they slap him on the shoulder and go, "That's my nigga." I bet they.
So
They probably already said that. That ain't my argument.
Maria
I
G
bet they
says,
do.
"Do you think Blue is on your side?"
No, Blue sucks too. But at least Blue acts like they have some ethics. They act like it. Red talks as if they have ethics, and then goes out and does whatever they want. They're the same one as like, we have to protect our soldiers. We have to protect them. We have to love them. Hey, VA needs money. Man, bump the VA. I'm trying to build more battleships. Hey, we're going to need more soldiers in 20 years. Man, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we're gonna need more soldiers. Oh, no, my bad. I said it backwards. We need these babies. We have to keep these babies. Okay, they're old enough. I don't want to touch them. Ill, they're gross, they're black, they're Mexican, they're whatever. Put them over there. Don't give them any of my money and my tax dollars. But as soon as they're 18, oh yeah, put the little nigglets in the military. Let them go shoot up Greece or whatever the hell we're gonna do this week. Let's find the new brown people to go shoot. That's just how they think.
Mike, you done let the whipping
It's my whole life. It's what they've shown me my entire life. It's why I could never be a Republican. I'm just not a Democrat either.
You done let the whipping post scare you out of non-participation, my brother. That's all I'm gonna take.
I don't even look at the whipping post. The
So
only
MD,
news I slightly trust is BBC.
Oh yeah, BBC is legit. BBC
That's
is
the only
legit.
one them and maybe what's the Arab one?
Al Jazeera.
Those are the only two I kind of trust because they kind of tell the truth most of the time.
Hold on, wait a minute. Did y'all just say the BBC is the most reliable news source? Is that what I just heard?
No,
name me
I
one
said
better.
they legit. They legit.
Name me one better.
I can name several.
I would love to hear it, sir.
Don't say no.
France 20. It depends on what type of news you're talking about.
World news.
It depends on what. If you're talking about world news, we talking about France 24. We talking about what's the name? I like Al Jazeera, even though they kind of left leaning too. I like Al Jazeera.
Oh Lord.
What's the one out of Deutschland? What's the name? What's the name? Say what you say?
You said in Deutschland, so you're speaking of German news.
Yeah. What is that name? Damn, I done forgot that name.
Hey, can I take a second to
but
say?
Anyway,
can I take a second to say how proud I am to be on a show where 4 black men are talking about news programs and what's the best, and we can all name actual good news. Like, props to y'all.
But don't ask Sarah Palin which magazine she reads.
She from her house, right? So
she reads a newspaper with eye holes in it so she can see Russia, moron.
Oh wow.
So MD, so you pretty much, your stance on this is that he has done nothing wrong and there's nothing in specific writing for this specific situation that can punish or harm him in any way, so he's good. That's your position, correct?
He's great.
Okay.
You know what? Let me say this, and I'm gonna try to make it quick because I know I get long-winded. I'm sorry. If it was all good, he wouldn't have hit it. That's one. Is it legal? Yes. So I'm on MD's side when it comes to that because they were stupid enough not to make it illegal. So he hasn't done anything illegal, but has he done things wrong? Hell yes.
Absolutely.
And the Democrats, I call you all soft and punks and pathetic. This is the time to show me that you're worth something. If you can't use this to whip up something, to put up some kind of stand, to do something, then I will never be a blue person. Y'all all disgust me. You soft. You let the Reds push you around like y'all punks. I ain't seen the Reds punk people much since I had to see CCCP on everything red.
We're trying to
I can only imagine how many Bible burnings and damn drag shows Ruth Bader Ginsburg went to. Y'all ain't say nothing about that.
I'm gonna let you have that one. That was off. That was off. I wasn't ready for that. I was
All
not
right.
ready for that.
All right. So it's a story that's ongoing. So we'll probably have to revisit this down the road when some more stuff happens. But they're saying that they have legislation that they're looking at. Will they actually go forward with it? That's the big question.
No, they
So,
punks.
so we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully,
Witch hunt,
sooner
like
rather
all
than
other
later.
stuff going on. Witch hunt.
Which nah, that's not a witch hunt. There's smoke and everything else under there, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go into some political news. Be right there.
In commitment 2024 tonight, a new UNH poll says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has fallen to as low as 5th place in the first in the nation primary. Now, 39% of likely Republican voters surveyed say Donald Trump is their first choice for president. He's then followed by 4 candidates really in a statistical tie for second place because of the margin of error with this poll, which was 3.4% or so. So you got Vivek Ramaswamy at 13%, Nikki Haley then at 12%, Chris Christie sitting at 11%, all of them polling better than they did in July, and now all of them in this new poll are ahead of Ron DeSantis. DeSantis was polling in the high teens in 2021. Then look at here. He shot up to first place, really, in 2 consecutive UNH polls that we saw from earlier last year and then into the beginning of this year, reaching up to 43% support. But since then, you can see what's happened, falling now to just 10% support in this most recent poll. As for the top issues for likely Republican voters here in the Granite State, they say first and foremost is the border and immigration, then followed by jobs and the economy, and then foreign policy is third.
Venkat?
Somebody pouring up some Crown Royal sounded like.
That's me, my bad.
What happened? What Venkat at?
Oh shoot! I had it on mute the whole time. My God, I was talking the whole time. Oh my God, I pulled the Trevor. Yeah. So what? So I'll repeat what I was saying. So I was pretty much saying, Ron Disaster is continuing to tank, and his campaign is going south and dropping like a bad habit. What do we think about the current results here that we're getting, as far as like we see a lot of upward movement for the other candidates? Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, MD's pick. She raised up a bit because they were in the single digits before. Now they're in double figures. So, and DeSantis is now 5th. What's our thoughts on the current situation in the Republican primary?
I'll say I think it's a little bit too late, but in any event, a lot of people that follow the GOP when it comes to like the base block of what the GOP is, they're starting to see that these other candidates matter. This is a point of contention that I've had with a lot of different people that say, "Oh, it really don't matter. Trump is so far ahead." But I look at it like, does that take away from the views of the individual voter as to what they want to see? That goes back to the original primary debate and Trump not being a part of it, based on his thought process of it really don't matter about the other candidates, not taking into consideration his potential constituents want to see how the different political views are debated. like me. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of the old conservative independent voters are looking at that and saying, "Hey, look, we don't got a leg to stand on when it comes to Trump and his viewpoints. Hell, his speeches are pretty much the same where you go." That's how I look at it. Now, again, Nikki Haley bought me in the first primary debate, and we gonna see what she gonna do come tomorrow. That's a big reason of it, and this people from the onset of from last year to this year understand that DeSantis is an idiot. Let's just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I've already known this based off of some of his actions. So he's going to continue to fall, and the other candidates going to continue to rise because DeSantis don't know if he's going left or right. Conservatively, he just do shit just to do it. That's the way I look at it. So that's the way it's going to go. In my opinion, my bold prediction: Nikki Haley is going to pull out in second, come after this week, because she's the only competent one besides Chris. But Chris got a vendetta. We all know that. But as far as competence, ain't nobody up there like Nikki Haley. Period. Besides Mike Pence, but don't nobody like Mike Pence. So
Nobody likes a spineless jellyfish like Mike Pence. What's our viewpoint on that, Ricardo? Ricardo, you there? Oh, okay. Well, maybe he stepped out. Mike, you
He's trying to
available?
bounce back and forth between. I think that poll shows that they really don't care about the issues. They really don't care about the issues. It's how many times can we get Trump in? It's Trump is going to say the things that are going to scare the other side. Trump's going to do what he says, AKA he's going to talk the talk. Like, that's basically all they're voting for, because you can't vote for the policies because there's not that many. He's just regurgitating what other people. Oh, what? Oh, thank you, crony. That looks good. Like, he's not presidential, and I don't mean that. I don't want to say. That's not what I want to say. He's not a good president. He was not a good president. That's what I want to say. He's not a good president, and the fact that they can't let him go shows that they don't care, because there's so many other people in their own party that are better for them than he is. But you can't tell them that, because all they care about is Trump. That's all they care about. That's all they know. That's all they want to know. So,
well, here's a graph. Here's a graph right here that kind of support like what you're saying. Like they're just, why are the Republicans voting for Trump? 75% said he actually won 2020. 65%. 65% show support for legal fights. 64%. Yeah, 64%. I like him personally. Again, none of these are policies, by the way. 51%. He makes liberals angry. These are the cutting wedge issues for Republicans right here.
The answer is because. That's it. When you ask for Trump, because that's it. Put in whatever BS you want at the end of it. He ain't them. He's one of us. That's all it is. There's no rhyme. There's no smart. There's no intelligence to it. We like him. That's it. America. Any of them foolish things you want to say, put it at because and then something stupid. That's why they vote for Trump. Trump ain't doing nothing for them. Trump, okay? Trump only does stuff for the rich. For the rich. And these broke, stupid whites keep lining up for him. And he's laughing. Oh my gosh, yo. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm sorry. They're so stupid.
Hey, shout out to Bones, man. What's up, Bones? All right, so Ricardo, you on there now?
Bones in the building.
I guess he's not up there. Okay. MD, anything further on those polls that they just showed? They also mentioned like what Republicans see as the most important issues and whatnot. Um, I think jobs was like number 2 that they select. They didn't even say economy or jobs number 1, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
anything else you get out of there?
yeah. Those poll numbers were damning because it shows an affliction that's going on with the GOP right now. The reason they highlighted those particular polls was to distance Trump supporters versus regular conservative policies because if you insert those conservative policies, then that broadens the spectrum of the candidacy, and the
Right,
goal is to not do that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
The goal is to focus on MAGA, and I get it. You know what I mean? It's a political ploy for a code of personality. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said if the GOP were smart enough, they would have banned it together after J6, and we wouldn't even be talking about Trump right now. But because they try to save some type of face as far as what the outlook of conservatism was, which was Trump at that time, and they straddled the fence. Now they in the position that they in right now.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous again because I always say, the Republican Party being weakened is damaging for the Democratic Party as well because Democrats are like, hey, they are so bad. We don't really got to do much than just not be them. And
And if the
that's not
Democrats
going to
are
get
good
it
at
done.
anything, it's not doing much.
Yeah. I mean, my God, you just have to do this that much more than the Republicans. That's really all it is. And that's pretty
After
weak.
J6, they should have been canceled. Trump should have been canceled after J6.
Oh, of course.
And I'm not a cancel culture person in any facet of the sense. You know what I mean? But if it was any opportunity to cancel him, that was it. But what did they do?
Double down. They
The
double
Patriot
down.
this and Patriot this and good people that. I was like, all right, do what y'all do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And now we're in the position that we're in now. And with all that being said, still come 2024, if he the candidate, I'm voting for him.
Oh God, MD.
I'm just keeping it real. Well, because his policy, it's all about policy for me. You can't get no because out of me.
But MD though, let's dig into that a little bit. He don't got a policy. He never had policies.
Okay.
The Muslim ban was from that fat friend of his. Oh God, what's that guy? Mike, not Michael. The chubby hateful guy that did that blog. God, what the hell is his name? I can't remember his name now. But the Muslim. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, okay, I get your point from that aspect. When I say policy, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about anti-liberal policy. I can deal with that in the sense of, and like I said, if you want to call it conservative, that's fine. I don't call myself conservative, but if you want to look at it as conservative policy, cool. Because Trump did a lot of shit that I didn't agree with. Like he started off bad with me with the bump stock ban. So it is what it is. But in terms of the stuff where he's talking about the drill, baby drill, and the exiting out of Ukraine, that's the stuff I rock with. Liberals ain't rocking with that.
Okay.
So if that's what I got to deal with, so be it. That don't take away from my individual voter ability. It don't.
Okay.
It's just me looking at the writing on the wall.
And I'm the exact
had the Republicans did what they had to do prior, I wouldn't have to worry about it. I could be rocking with Nikki Haley all day. So there's that.
Anything you want to add, Mike?
They're still gonna win because Democrats suck. Democrats get on my nerves. They let W crush their testes. They lost to a C student, and it had never been the same. Pathetic. I wish there was 7 parties. Good Lord.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we came to the time of the show where it's time to go duck hunting. So we go into the lame duck session.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. I'm tired of being quiet. I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Now to that political earthquake in Texas. House lawmakers voting to impeach the state's Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton. The historic vote exposes wide divisions among Republicans and sets the stage for a contentious showdown in the state Senate and how his wife could play a role in those proceedings. Here's ABC's Elwin Lopez.
Tonight, embattled Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton impeached by the Texas House of Representatives, setting up a bitter trial in the state Senate.
There have been 121 ayes and 23 nays, 2 present not voting, 3 absent. The resolution is adopted.
An overwhelming majority of the GOP-led House in Texas voted Saturday to impeach Paxton, who is also a Republican. 20 impeachment charges in total, including abuse of office, fraud, and bribery.
We have a duty and an obligation to protect the citizens of Texas from elected officials that abuse their office and their power for personal gain.
One allegation accuses Paxton of interfering in foreclosure lawsuits and issuing legal opinions to benefit the real estate developer Nate Paul, a donor to Paxton's campaigns. Paul has denied any wrongdoing. The bribery charge alleges that the Texas AG provided legal help to Paul in exchange for Paul employing a woman that Paxton is accused of having an affair with. Paul has also denied hiring the woman as a favor. The third-term Attorney General suspended from his office's duties pending the Senate trial, where his wife, a sitting senator, holds a crucial vote. She has yet to announce whether or not she will recuse herself in the trial. Paxton has denied the allegations, striking back on Twitter, calling the vote an ugly spectacle and profoundly unjust, stating in part that he looks forward to a quick resolution in the Texas Senate. And Lindsay, 2/3 of the Republican-dominated Senate would be needed to oust Paxton permanently. Anything less, and he would be acquitted and allowed to continue as Attorney General. So far, no date has been set for that Senate trial.
To Texas now, where state senators are deliberating whether to remove Attorney General Ken Paxton from office. ABC's Melissa Adon is here now with the details. Melissa, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. Well, we are awaiting the decision in this rare impeachment trial as Texas senators decide Attorney General Ken Paxton's political fate. The deliberations will continue this morning. Paxton is looking at being impeached over several allegations of abuse of office, including bribery and corruption. And at the center of the case is whether real estate investor Nate Paul paid for Paxton's home renovations in exchange for favors, and that Paxton used the powers of his office to protect Paul, who was indicted on federal charges of making false statements to banks. Now, the Texas trial seeing 2 weeks of testimony where the prosecution said they found unprecedented abuse in the Attorney General's office. The defense arguing that there was lack of evidence during the trial, calling the impeachment proceedings a sham. Paxton's former top aides testifying before the Senate, sharing that they were fired after reporting concerns about Paxton's behavior to law enforcement, even including an alleged extramarital affair. Now, Paxton, a Republican, faced a Republican-led prosecution, and one of those state Senate legislators who listened in to the testimony was actually his wife, Angela Paxton, who cannot participate in deliberations or vote. Well, Paxton was suspended from office when he was impeached in May, and a conviction requires a 2/3 majority. Now, both Paul and Paxton have denied wrongdoing, so we'll definitely be watching this closely.
I want to get back to this breaking news that we have been following as the Texas Senate has voted to acquit embattled Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on all 16 impeachment articles against him, and he can return to office. Deliberations began Friday in Paxton's impeachment trial, and the verdict was going to determine whether the Republican was removed from office over charges of bribery and corruption. One conviction would have meant Paxton was removed from office. That obviously here did not happen. The jury, made up of 30 state senators, most of which were Republicans just like him. So again, the Texas Senate voting to acquit embattled Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on all 16 impeachment articles against him.
So there we are. Ken Paxton.
Hey, so
Ken
wait a minute, I'm
Paxton.
confused. So the Texas State Senate voted to impeach him, and then turn around and acquit him?
No, I think the Senate acquitted him, but I guess
The
that
House,
version of Congress.
State
the
House, State House. Yeah, okay.
Right, the House brought the charges to him.
So
this
how
is essentially
can
what happened to Donald Trump.
yes, that's weird. Like, how can the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans be so like opposite? Yeah,
Easy, because he was supposed to do something. He tried to stand up and say, "I'm not going to do it," and they said, "Watch this." And then he had to go home to his wife, and they had pictures. It's like a movie, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get in line." And then he got in line and shut his mouth, and they let him back in his office. Y'all know what it is.
Now his wife is also in politics, and she was I guess she had recused herself from the case, but he was cheating. He was cheating on her. She was cheating on her, some lady.
Oh no!
got the hell for
The
a job.
Democrats said he was acquitted, so he was not cheating. Wink, wink.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but I mean, how much of this we gonna have though? I mean, here's this clown right here, right? This guy looks real special right now. So he's doing the same thing, overusing and abusing his power, manipulating, using his office to enrich himself and friends. We see this with Trump. We see this with our great Judge Thomas. It's just endless. They're just like, you have people that are being who?
You can't compare those two.
I could compare those 2, 3, 4, 10s, hundreds. There's so many of them. It's just ridiculous. They're like spawning like insects, and it's just ridiculous. Something has to happen at some point. Somebody has got to be made an example of, and we got to get laws in the books that heavily punish this kind of behavior, because they're there to do a job. They were voted in by people or appointed by someone, and they're there to do a job.
What country do you live in? You think you in a fairy tale? There ain't no such thing.
I ain't in a fairy.
It just happened. That was the example. They put him back in line. He tried to step out and get too much money for too many friends. They put him back in line and said, "Hey, you only get money for the friends we tell you to get money from." And he was like, "Well, I can do what I want." They put his ass on the trial. He said, "I'm sorry." And then he got back in line. That's what happened. We already had the example. The country is done. I don't know why y'all keep fighting for it. It's done.
So there's another one. There's just so many of these types of politicians out there that I don't have enough ducks to give out. There's not enough weeks. And the thing is, this one is a Democrat. I will be talking about him in a future show. Exactly. So the thing is with his case is that he got corruption charges 10 years ago. Yeah. And now 10 years later, it's the same exact charge. I mean, he's that bold that he got caught and was charged against something. He somehow got by it. And again, now he's facing the same charge with even bigger, more grander charges attached to it. So it's clear, they don't care. So there's got to be something in the legislation to keep this thing in the straight and now. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Are we the least bit surprised by any of this, though? I mean, it's like a never-ending digging yourself in a whole consequential bit of pieces that we've seen from both sides, not just the Democrats, but the Republicans are doing the same thing. I just feel like, again, you do bring a point. There's somebody has to take, like, at least get the brunt of it, so that it does cross as, hey, the example of, because this is just getting too frequent now. Like it's like we're becoming too accustomed to the nonsense, and then what's next? So we're just gonna just skim through, like, okay, so this is just a normal, so we're just gonna just like not give a care anymore. Like, nah, it's something has got to give. At some point in time, we just got to say enough is enough. When is the enough is enough? I don't.
Yo, what country do y'all live in?
The United States of America.
You mean the same country that has never said enough is enough? Not that country.
There's still hope. There's still hope.
Where? You know what? Yo, I usually say this to the women, but y'all need to let me know when to get a passport so I can visit these dream worlds that y'all live in. It's got to be fabulous over there. It's got to be wonderful. You probably got unicorn llamas. I want to see all of it. We live in America. They're not going to stop. They're never going to change. There is no too low. There is no too low. The man on national television dispute whether the word is. You was getting brain, bro, and got away with it.
Ain't nothing wrong with
it. Come on, man. Y'all wilding. All right.
I'll say the only thing.
Right.
Yeah, the only thing that you could really do with this situation is some DA's gonna have to step up and do a true blue investigation, and that's what it's gonna have to come down to.
And they're gonna get his family on front page, and they're gonna ream him out. They're gonna be like, "Hey, we caught you looking at a little boy's site." They're gonna bring out a AI version of his voice.
It always goes
AI
there.
Version of his voice. They gonna put him saying, "Yeah, man, I love them girly boys. I want them girly boys in my room."
Mike,
they gonna have, and then he gonna recuse himself, and he gonna quit and say, "My bad, I'm sorry. Let me keep my job," and it's gonna go back to what it is.
But the funny thing, though, Mike, is that you're saying this now, and this down the road, because this is still going, this story's still going. So down the road, they may have some sort of, revelation that this is what happens. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all, because this is just crazy, man.
Dude, I just watched Steve Harvey give a woman advice on his show, and then I saw the real episode, and he ain't say none of the words that his voice said. You think they can't make you say something you didn't say? You think they can't make you act like you committing a murder? You think they can't make you? Come on, bro. They can't make you say, "Man, look at that little boy in them tight shorts." You think they can't make you say that? You think they can't make a video? Yo, we just watched the Kendrick Lamar video where he shape-shifted and changed his face to Kobe Bryant and Will Smith and all that. You think they can't make a video of you staring at some dude with his balls bulging out of his penis? And now you on front page, the Ladyboy Killer?
But that's your likeness. That's the likeness.
And that's an intricate web of espionage, man. We can't, we can't be.
But that's
the people who are doing it are 19-year-old boys on their day off.
These are the same.
It ain't intricate. It's them playing on a computer program.
Yeah, remember the same ones that would be calling the cops on like random people and getting them swatted and all that nonsense.
Yeah, the same dude swatting. You think the Proud Boys in on the internet? Come on, man. Yo, bugging. Yo, but I'm telling you, look at how it looks from my vantage point. This man was doing something out of line. They jumped up, they smacked him around. Look, you're gonna lose everything. We got 20 counts of impeachment. Your wife is here. We got your wife listening to you being interrogated. And then, and all of a sudden, hey, he was acquitted. He got his ass in line. That's what happened.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, doesn't it?
Exactly. They legally smacked him around. He's like, I'm sorry, master. Can I shine your shoes? Use your spit, your white whatever. And then he cleaned the shoe and they let him get back in office. That's all I have. Bro, there is no light at the top. No one is coming to save us. This is the downward spiral of Rome. Please come with me. I don't want to be the only one to see it burn.
Not the fifth epilogue. No, damn it. No. There's still hope. We're going to that's just like in Armageddon. There's that one glimmer of hope that Bruce Willis was going to press that button and the damn asteroid was going to blow up and the Earth will be saved. We still have that one glimmer of hope. That's the
and guess
human
what?
side of it.
The bomb was built by the government, so it don't work.
Oh my God! All right, Reagan. All right, Michael Reagan.
I'm a trickle down for real. I'm on it, boy. That was a good one.
All right, so let's get into the immigration talk here. We're gonna go to State of the
In just 1 week, they came by the thousands, group after group after group of migrants streaming into Eagle Pass, Texas, prompting the border town to declare a state of emergency and straining the nation's immigration system again. I asked the American people for forgiveness for crossing the border this way, this man says, but I'm coming from a situation where they threatened to kill my family. This past Wednesday alone, a Customs and Border Protection official tells NBC News nearly 9,000 migrants crossed the border illegally, almost a record high. During the last fiscal year, 2022, the Border Patrol encountered a record 2.2 million people crossing the border illegally. The numbers went down a bit in the fiscal year ending this month, but are still high, among the highest in decades.
When did you put up this wire?
Earlier this summer, we visited Eagle Pass shortly after state troopers had installed razor wire to keep migrants out. We met this group of Venezuelans as they crossed the Rio Grande.
Are you desperate? ¿Están desesperados?
Of course, they said. We toured the area from above with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
This is not a secure border. Anybody that thinks this is a secure border is delusional. A lot of the people, they have their children, small children, on their shoulders trying to come across, but if they lose their footing, they go down in the water.
And this is something you see every day.
Oh, this is every day.
On Saturday, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas visited the border and met with the president of Honduras to discuss cooperation on illegal migration.
We are combating these smugglers more intensely than ever before.
The White House says it's expanding capacity in DHS facilities and deploying 800 new military personnel to the border.
Do you think that'll be enough?
Look, it's on top of what we have done already in the past 2 years under this administration. Look, every year the U.S. sees ebbs and flows of migrants arriving fueled by seasonal trends and efforts of smugglers to encourage migration.
In a major policy shift, the Biden administration is also giving temporary protected status to nearly 500,000 Venezuelan migrants, preventing them from being deported and allowing them to apply for work permits immediately. A move welcomed by officials in New York, which is still seeing some 3,000 migrants arrive each week. We've spoken with some of them who've lived in Manhattan hotels for months on the taxpayers' dime because of the city's long-standing policy requiring a place to stay for anyone who asks for it.
This was intended to help homeless people stay off the streets, help families, but it was never intended to be an unlimited universal right and obligation to shelter the entire world. And that's the way it's been interpreted.
Okay, so on the screen we see MD says, "Get them out of here." So immigration, it's one of the tougher conversations we always have in the political talks, and what is our view? I mean, I guess if you're an immigrant, you may have a different view versus someone that's quote unquote allegedly homegrown here. But what do we think about this? We'll start with Ricardo on this one first.
Hey, don't do that, Venkat. You set me up just then. But don't. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Talking about homegrown. It's a difference between immigration and illegal immigration. Go ahead, Ricardo. Go ahead.
I'll get back to you, MD. I'll get back.
Right. So if we're gonna go by because the humanitarian aspect to this in terms of immigration, and then there is the illegality part of it as well. Now, seeing that I'm gonna say this because I was also, I would say, a naturalized citizen. So going through the immigration process was one that I had to go through. I do believe in the fairness of having to go through the naturalized, correct way of immigration. Applicability, if that's the word that we're going to go for here. Now, with that being stated, we do have a humanitarian issue at the border. Is it going to get better anytime soon? I highly doubt it, because this was something that was escalated for. Do we just say, okay, so from Obama's era going into Trump's era, now we're now into Biden's era, which is kind of similar to Obama's era. So when we're looking at the whole template of all of this, it's just snowballing from one era for presidency into the next one, into the next one. How do we combat this issue? I have no idea, because this is Central America and South American immigrants that are moving upwards, and now they're at the Mexican border. So is it just Central or just South American immigrants? I highly doubt that as well, because we did have Haitians there. We did have Caribbean people from the Caribbean basin. We also found out that there's people from Asia as well. So it looks like everybody is now congregating at the border, and it's now an issue for the other regions that are in that have to deal with the mess. Well, now we have a president now that says, okay, well, we need to take them in, and then the vice president that's saying, well, no, stay where you're at, because there's no more room. You can't tell these people to not come here. But then they're also saying, you have to go to the legal way. Where are they going to go back to? I mean, did we even solve the issue with those children that were held in these, what do you call them? I wouldn't say concentration camps, but they're more like these little places. That's what they were. But I'm trying to come up with a more delicate word that doesn't sound so harsh, but we can't do that. Where are these kids that they lost that were in these places that, it's kind of sad in a sense, because you can't return them to their parents because you kind of let the parents go. So now, are they a burden to our system? It's like a conundrum that never ends. And then you have the Cubans that are still doing the wet foot, dry foot thing. I think they stopped it under Trump. I'm not sure if it's still applicable. How is that fair when you have other people that comes from the Caribbean region and they can't get in? So there's a lot of
Haiti
and all of that. So are we gonna fix both sides? And I implore both sides to really rationalize on this. When are we gonna fix the actual loopholes that are there, to then state, okay, this is the correct way to go about it, and this is how it should be going forward, instead of using it as a political guise to then trump up votes or trump up a certain group, and I hate to use that word, or try to get people to be revved up when it comes to election time. It's a never-ending cycle that doesn't seem to end. How do we fix this on both sides? Not just the conservatives and not just the liberals, both sides coming in the middle and saying, okay, enough is enough. What are we going to do about this now going forward? Because this is not going to end. This is the world's largest freestanding, politically powerful country on earth. Not even the BRICS can come close to the resources that this country has. They try to bring about some kind of, I guess they were coming together and say, oh, we're going to be a political bloc. you still don't have enough gold to match what the US has in terms of resources. You're still shy. So how do you, as a political might that we call the United States, how do we then say, because you can't tell people not to come here. Globalization told you that. You can't say don't come to this country, because how does that help you in the long run? Globalization, which we all are a part of now, dictate how we move about. So how do you tell the other countries, hey, listen, we have 400 million people in this country already, and we'd rather you go through the correct way of being naturalized instead of doing the illegal thing. But at the same time, we get that you have a humanitarian issue. It's not like there are volcanoes erupting. It's not like you suffering from a tsunami issue. It's not like you see what I'm saying? So how do we all meet in the middle and fix this? I would love to know, because this is just a never-ending loophole of we're going round and round in circles and nobody wants to fix it. But we want to trump up votes when the time comes for political gainment, and then the next person issue is who is going to fix it. That's all I have to say with this.
All right, MD.
Now, you back in my good graces, Maria G. You done came to your senses. You're absolutely correct. Build a wall, but that's not it.
Nope.
We are at an erasure point when it comes to our communities and how this open border situation is being handled. Like we're literally being pushed out of the little pockets of communities that we've been able to place for ourselves now. People in Chicago talking about build a wall. We talking about hardcore black communities in Chicago where they have droves of illegal immigrants in schools and rec centers, sleeping, causing a fuss, and we having to fit the bill from a certain aspect. Even to the point where now these Democratic-led cities, they just can't take it no more. Well, you got people like Eric Adams and the mayor up in Chicago saying, "Hey, look, like it's filled to the brim. We can't do it no more." That's what you get when you come up with these democratic policies to essentially replace your biggest block that has the most impact come voting time, which is black folk. So in that aspect, I agree with Mike. Our time is pretty much up if we don't get our stuff together. Now, here's the deal. You talk about build a wall, that's cool, but we also have to bring back Title 42. Well, you say, MD, how you bring back Title 42? There's no health crisis. Well, yeah, there is. It's called the opioid and fentanyl crisis. If at any point in time it need to be brought back, it need to be now. And you talk about the Haitians, they were part of that running scheme too. So take your black ass to your island as well. That's the way I look at it.
Oh my God. That iron fist. That iron fist, Dr. Doom.
So
He's here.
in again, in that aspect, we have to do something. I'm to the point now where I'm saying we have to go full-blown diplomatic intervention in these countries, from Mexico all the way down. That's what and if you don't want to rock with that, we could go military. That's the way I'm looking at it. Because it's something gotta go. It's to your detriment, black man and black woman. That includes y'all.
So wait a minute. So you're saying go military, as in have the military post up by the walls and the gates and the cages and the fence, and if people start to get over there, just start shooting? Is that what we're doing?
Trump was to that point. Trump told Mexico that they had to supply a certain amount of troops during the building of the wall. They didn't want to do it at first. Trump, now this is why I give him his credit. He told them, "Hey, look, I'll tear you until you can't sell a piece of candy." And they said, "Look, we'll bring some troops," and they did it. So I give Trump his kudos for that. But that's just bringing troops to the wall. I don't think that's good enough now. First, you're gonna have to do diplomatic intervention with these countries like Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. We're gonna have to, hey, look, something got to be done. And if they don't want to rock with that, the first regiment might be coming to your town. That's the way I'm looking at it. We got to stop the epidemic at its head, and that's the cartels.
Well, that's driving a lot of the problems what people are running from. You heard the guy in the video say, "I had to go because they're trying to kill me and my family."
Well,
So,
if we start that conflict, maybe you could take your ass back home. But for now, you can't come here. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I'm looking at it. And you talk about the detention centers at the border with the women and the children being separated. Well, that's the aspect you throw the baby with the bathwater out, and that's over the wall back to Mexico.
oh, I just see a cartoon character doing everything you're saying verbally. I just see a cartoon character just executing. But go ahead, MD, keep going.
No, I'm done, man. I'm done. Again, the number one focal point for me, and it's been like that for a couple years now, is illegal immigration. I will always stand on that. That is the number one issue, not only for black folk, but for America.
Okay, so MD, so if illegal immigration is such a huge problem because I guess this is a problem because of what? The jobs are being stolen or whatever, that thing that they always say. The Republicans love to say that.
Well,
Is
it
that
ain't. That's just not. No, I can't let you get away with that, Venkat.
I'm
You just
saying we've heard this for decades now. That illegal
Venkat.
immigrants are coming in and they're driving the cost of our pay down because they take work at a lower rate, which devalues the jobs that Americans have here, right? That's not something I'm making up. That's a known thing that's been sprouted out from Republicans for decades. I've heard it. I heard it every time they
Venkat,
say it.
it's beyond that now, though, Venkat. If you
What
go
is
to
it now?
If you go to New York and Chicago, you come out on your stoop and you got 5 of them right there sleeping like cats on your damn stairwell. That's where it's at right now.
Yeah,
Do you
but
think
okay.
is that the neighborhood that you want to live in?
Well, I mean, I don't know to that severity. I haven't seen it
But
with my
you
own eyes.
haven't seen it. You haven't
No,
seen
I'm not
it.
saying it doesn't
It's
exist. I don't see
videos
a lot of,
galore.
huh?
It's videos galore.
Well,
Illegals jumping on black folks in New York City.
no, ain't no illegals jumping on them.
I've seen it, Vancat. I've seen it.
You gotta show that to me, MD.
Yeah,
I
there's
gotta
no
show
way
it
in
to you.
hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta show it to you.
So I'm gonna be illegal and I'm gonna jump on black people.
I don't.
Probably the most likely people that know how to fight. We're gonna go ahead and jump on those people.
There's a video out there. It was a security guard in New York, around where they had the rec center going on. They wasn't even a rec center. It was a motel, a hotel, where they were sheltering illegals that had been bussed up to New York. They was loitering in front of the bodega. The black man, as a matter of fact, I believe he was Jamaican. We talking about New York at the end of the day.
Right.
He was telling him, "Hey, look, man, y'all can't be loitering right here." They hit him all about the head and shoulders. I've seen the video. I'm about to send it to you right now.
I don't know, man. Immigration, it's dangerous, right? Because it affects a lot. So you got people's actual lives that are affected. There's some people that they're just a part of this tidal wave. They mean no harm. They don't want to do no wrong. They don't want to do anything. They're just trying to find a way to get their family in a better position than where they're at. They're not even looking for the greatest position. They're just trying to get an opportunity to not be as endangered from where they were. Then you have the other element of the drugs, the abduction of people and trafficking and all this other stuff and the crimes and all that. You got that element. But then you have within our side of things, you have people that are opportunistic that use these visuals to drive emotion and fear and use that for political gain. So the conversation thus far is this has always been a wedge issue for Republicans to utilize immigration as this pawn to energize and galvanize their base and their voters and whatnot. And then it muddies what is really going on. I've seen Fox News report some ridiculous ass reports And meanwhile, there's major stuff in the world going on that they ignore because it didn't fit their narrative, and they're sticking with that. So I don't know. It's a tough thing to measure, and I'm sure an everyday regular person that's busy with life and don't really have time for politics in general, they're definitely not going to have time for this nonsense. And people are just going to go by their biases, you know? Do I like illegal, or do I like immigrants, or do I like people that are not like me? You know, chances are probably not. And then they have a negative view on it. But the Republican Party has been doing this for decades. This is their bread and butter. This is how they get through things. Go ahead, Ricardo. You was going to say something?
No, that's what I was saying. At some point in time, both political sides will have to come to some kind of mutual agreement, come to the middle and say, listen, this enough is enough. Like, this is just, we're just doing the same repetitive nonsense over and over again. One side doesn't want to do anything because, you know, of the political voting implication that it brings, well, the other side is like, oh, well, I'm just going to boost it up because it sounds good, and it gives everybody else in the voting block a reason to be angry. It's any way you look at it, like I was just explaining to Maria G in the chat, you do need immigration, but it has to be done in a very respectful, very very precise way where it's not like an issue for everyone to be, you know, getting worked up about. It's, if you're doing it the naturalized way, then fine, but let's face reality here. That's not going to be the case for most people that are coming here. Are all illegal immigrants bad? I think that's the issue that a lot of people are stating here. I don't think so, but the bad apples ruin it for the rest of them that are coming. So it's like, okay, then where do you put them? Nobody wants to deal with them. Like the Republicans thing is, why don't you put them in your house? Why don't you put them in your neighborhood? I'm sure it's going to drive down your property value. Yeah. I mean, let's face reality. You're not going to want to do all of that. But if you have the New York mayor now saying, listen, we can't, this is the largest city in the U.S., and we can't even handle the infrastructure of them coming in. We don't even have hotels to put them at. Is anybody else going to take on the fact that they're coming here and everybody else is just looking and whistling the opposite direction? It's
but
like,
Ricardo, that wasn't his sentiment when this whole thing first started.
Correct. I agree with you. He didn't say that in the beginning, but now it's putting a strain on the largest city in the U.S. So, I mean, eventually they're gonna the people that live in New York are gonna rebel because they're just coming out of the pandemic. It's just beginning to open back up. So a lot of things now are gonna start hitting the fan because it's like, okay, then what do we do now? New York is the largest financial city other than London in the world. So you kind of now have to put things in perspective here. Where are you going to put them? There's infrastructure strains in New York. There's not enough housing. And then, you know, you're going to Biden. Biden's already worried about or trying to figure out stuff as to how to vote. The voting is going to go for the next presidential bidding. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that is now coming. I guess the chickens now are coming home to roost is the sense. But at the same length and breath, if it's done naturalized correctly, I don't think people are gonna have an issue. The problem is it's the illegality of it, and then nobody wants to find ways to fix or curb the issue. That's where we're at. How do we fix this? Is this just a Central American issue? Is this just a South American issue? Is this just a Mexican issue? Where does it go from there? Like, how do we fix this? This is where I'm getting at, and that's the issue I have with the VP. She still hasn't been able to answer that question to this very day. And she was like, stop coming here. How are you going to tell them to stop coming here when they have nowhere else to go?
So Maria G wrote, Ricardo, will you take in 10 illegals? So I guess she's trolling now.
Yeah, be a helping hand, Ricardo.
We all need that.
Yeah, be a helping hand. Let them stay in your crawl space.
MD, you are so cold-hearted. Mike, is Mike on the panel still? Mike?
Oh, wow. You remembered I was here?
Come on, Mike.
You call Ricardo twice? You call him twice?
Nah. Oh, don't do the Shaq thing. It's supposed to go to one, then two.
For everybody, this is why I'm called others. This
Oh,
man
come
don't
on.
see me. This man don't hear. If I don't butt in, I ain't gonna ever get to say anything.
So what's your take on the immigration?
I think they need to kill all the coyotes.
Coyotes, as in who?
The people that push the people across, the people that take all their money, push them across, kill them. Then we need to invade other countries covertly and do what we should have done before it got out of hand and start killing these cartel people.
But we can't do that though, right? Because
we can't.
We just had a hell of a time with the Taliban.
Yeah, the Taliban's different. The Taliban can go hide in sand.
I don't know.
Is a built up. Mexico might be a second world country, but it ain't Afghanistan. We can go. I think we can covertly go in there, put boots to asses, bullets to heads, kill the cartel. Because let's be clear, the only thing that makes all Americans happy is our military looking good, apparently. So covertly go into these countries and start murdering people.
So essentially you're saying the enemy of my enemy the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep, brinksmanship.
No, I'm saying apparently maybe I laid it in too much hyperbole or whatever. Go into these countries and kill them. Simple and plain. Kill them all.
I think that's the biggest driver of what's going on. I mean the gang violence is what
people are running. Don't try to jump on my wonderful point and act like you talk. Going back to your corner. I'm talking. Go into these places that are making these people haul ass and kill them. We don't ask no questions. We not asking if we got a cross. We not asking if we can, can you mind if we come to your country and do some surveillance? We not asking nothing. Act like we're in the movies, cross state borders covertly, and then get to murdering people. Like, no question that. We not talking. And make sure, matter of fact, the only people we hiring is illegals. The illegals that come over, all the ones in great shape.
That's a good idea, Mike. Great idea.
Fantastic shape. All the ones that got good hand-eye coordination, we build them into a little army like Kennedy tried to do and ship them right back down there. You remember the dude who raped his sister? Shoot his Jimmy off.
Well,
I'm voting for you, Mike.
Go blow his house up.
You. I didn't even think about it. I'm voting for you.
Instead of using the illegals, why don't we just use those great patriots from January 6th? They were ready to fight.
Hey,
they could go in there and lead it.
I want to send them to Afghanistan, but that's a whole nother thing. So, I want illegal
they cross
because
over that river.
Nobody will fight more. Nobody will want. What's the movie I tell y'all about every week? The Spook Who Sat by the Door. That is the essence of the movie. I'm gonna get all these immigrants. I'm gonna get the best ones. And if you are top notch and you make it in the program, your family gets to stay. I'm gonna have a corporation make a business. We're gonna make a business. I don't care what we're selling, cronuts, bananas, or giving away roses on it, whatever the hell it is, your family get to stay here, they get a little hovel. And if you go over there and die, they get citizenship. If you go over there and
I don't know about all that.
Hey, if you gotta give them something.
Yeah, give them an AR and send their ass back over the border.
Everybody else getting turned over. You're not feeling me. I'm only selecting, let's say, what, 5,000?
Well,
everybody else gotta go.
Just to note, Mike, the Straight Talk Society and members of the panel does not endorse the murdering of anybody. So we're non-murdering people. So
yeah, this is all me.
You see, Trevor is like, oh boy, let me take the ad revenue off the show. You're compromising his deal.
I don't know how to say it any better, bro. Make an army out of the people you got. Send them back. Nobody's gonna fight for their land harder than people that's theirs. Nobody's gonna fight for their place more than they will. Send them, build them up, send them back through. If they go down, guess what? We got a whole nother round of immigrants that came through. I'm gonna get a whole. That's gonna be a business. Come through, train you up, ship you back. Come through, train you up, ship you back. And guess what? If the first round of people they act up and then they become all despotty, cool. I got 4 more rounds of people to send back and send them after you. That's a new business. We gotta. It's like you ever seen The Boys? We just building people to ship them in. Yeah, we're just building. We're hitting everybody with compound V and sending them back to you. I bet money that border will be a little clearer then. Bet money.
So Mike,
I was with you, Mike, till you said train them. Hell, that costs money. You give them.
That individualist is heavy.
Let me ask you a question. Does it cost more money to train a little crew of 5,000 every year, or to house 1.8 million in a year?
It don't cost nothing to give them surplus weapons and ship them back over the river.
But all they're gonna do is die. I want them to win, because see, if they win, then there's no need to keep coming. That's what you're not getting. If they win and they drive out, they go into Honduras and they drive out the Honduran cartel. Now Honduras is a nice place to live. Instead of them people walking up from Central America all the way up here, they're gonna stop in Honduras. That's a new place to
again.
Stop.
If you're gonna do that, send our troops so we can get it done the right way. Either way,
I don't want to send our troops and then our troops die.
They've been doing that. It didn't work out.
Our troops die, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, Michael got our troops killed," and they're I'm gonna send them to go fight for their land. Then they go take it over, and then we don't. And as Americans, we don't want nothing to do with your people. You got to know what government works for you.
And Afghanistan had like 20 years to train, be ready, and as soon as Biden let the troops go away, 15 minutes later, they took over the entire place.
That's because he did it legally. I ain't trying to do none of this legally. I'm doing all covert actions. I'm gonna have people
covert.
All covert. Oh, we ain't. I'm not sending them in there with no army uniforms and nothing. They gonna walk the streets looking like cokeheads, and when they see the military, and then they gonna disappear.
Mike, you're gonna be like George W. Bush. They're trying to tell you, no, you don't mean that. What you mean is this. Nah, that's not what I mean. I meant what I said. Blah, 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 blah.
I meant what I said. Hey, you know what? Everybody that can hear my voice, you need to go watch The Spook Who Sat by the Door. It's free on YouTube. Watch that movie and tell me that wouldn't be fantastic for not just black people, but for everybody to do. If I ever, that's why they'll never let me win the lotto. Because if I win the lotto, after I go, to other countries and I loot and I get like abs of every race, I'm gonna have like a white ab and a black ab and an Asian ab. I'm still one from Pacquiao. I'm gonna get some abs and I'm gonna get sexy. Once I finish doing my self-indulgent foolishness, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start a black army.
You said a black army.
I say black. I didn't say black American. It ain't gonna be no separate army. It's all gonna be connected. Black. Thank you. Sir. It's gonna be a black army, and we gonna do some. All right, go watch the movie. I'll leave it at that. Go watch the Spook Who Sat by the Door.
I still say American troops got to come in. You got to do it right again. And this is not about training them up in a sense of killing. It's about deterring a threat. The threat is the epidemic. We got to get to the root of it. Like I can't trust no hurdler to do that. I want my folks to do it.
Sir, if you do that, you're basically binding us to their countries for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that's going to be a monetary.
I ain't got no problem with that either if we get the resources. I ain't got no problem with that.
Wait a minute. That's not you guys sounding like W. You guys sounding like the Bush administration up in here.
Exactly.
This sounds like the Bush administration.
We got Cheney here in North America anyway. That's a start.
What resources do they have in Central America and Mexico, bro?
We'll find it. Something.
Mangoes.
Ain't nothing there but cocaine.
Mangoes.
They're fruits.
Hey, don't play with me.
All right, so we'll have to continue this conversation because obviously this problem is not going to end soon. And all they're doing is kicking the can down the road, as they like to say. because like Ricardo illustrated, it's going from one administration to the next, and depending on which news channel you watch, they talk about the president like he's incompetent or he's not doing anything, which he's probably doing the same that the previous one did and the one before that did, and blah blah blah.
Which is the
So
problem.
right now we're gonna. What's up?
I said, which is the problem?
Yeah, I know. Nobody. That's the problem with politics, is that when you don't make your elected officials accountable, you pretty much give them a pass to be spineless jellyfish. So we just got a bunch of Mike Pences walking around, and we don't have to. We don't need that. We need to put the voters should be putting the fear in these people that, oh my God, I better make sure I do this. I better make sure I do that because I'm gonna pay the price down the road. They're not thinking like that.
Nope. You're starting to sound like I need a passport again.
All right, so we're about to go into the last segment. But before we do, just want to make an announcement here. So next week we won't be on next week. There'll be no show next week. I believe that's October 3rd. October 3rd. So there'll be no show Tuesday, October 3rd. I have some responsibilities with some other things that I need to do, so we won't be there next week, but we will be back the week after, October 10th. So we'll be back suited and booted, ready to go on Tape Fist Politics. So now we're going to get ready to go into the last segment, which is the nightcap video of the evening. So let's go ahead and go into that right now.
The government watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, commonly known as CREW, has filed a lawsuit to bar former President Trump from appearing on presidential ballots in Colorado. The case claims that Trump should be disqualified from running due to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It's a post-Civil War provision that bans insurrectionists from holding public office. Part of the reason that this has emerged into the public consciousness is because of an article that you co-wrote about the 14th Amendment this summer. And so I'm so glad you're here to help us break it down and understand it, because while it was something that was being discussed in Democratic circles and some conservative circles as well, now there are lawsuits and there are secretaries of state in states across the country saying this is an issue. So it's clearly here to stay. So help us understand exactly what the 14th Amendment says and why you believe that it may disqualify the former president from office.
I'm glad to do so, Nancy. I co-wrote that article with very conservative, distinguished former federal judge, Judge Michael Ludig. We concluded, as have all the scholars who have seriously studied this issue, that the language of the 14th Amendment means exactly what it says. It says that anyone who takes an oath to protect the American Constitution and holds office and then engages in an insurrection against the Constitution or gives it aid and comfort can never again hold office in the United States. That language is unambiguous. It's clear. Whether it applies to Donald Trump will have to be decided by states like Colorado. And when they decide, then the U.S. Supreme Court will almost certainly have the final word, and it will come quickly. The reason we believe that this language applies, apart from all the facts we know about, is that it was put in the Constitution at a time when everyone realized that the executive branch would be unlikely to get convictions against former insurrectionists, because the president at the time was Andrew Johnson, who wanted to dismantle the Union victory in the Civil War. But it was going to be a permanent provision. a permanent protection against turncoats, people who turned against the country. If they weren't prosecuted, or if they were acquitted rather than convicted, or if they were pardoned, it wouldn't make any difference, because an independent determination would be made that they were disqualified. This lawsuit, brought in Colorado by Citizens for Responsible Ethics in Washington, representing 6 Colorado voters who clearly have standing to bring the suit, is the strongest of many around the country. It's brilliantly researched, thoroughly developed. The president is clearly frightened of it because he made a motion today, a frivolous motion, to take it to federal court where he obviously hopes to get it dismissed. He's scared of this suit, and he should be, because it is.
He just said today, in fact, he was doing a radio interview. He called it a trick that amounts to election interference. And, there is a question about whose decision it is, who gets to decide whether he meets this standard or not, especially because he has not formally been charged with inciting an insurrection. He's been charged with a lot of things, but not that. And he certainly hasn't been convicted of anything yet. And I hear what you're saying about convictions not necessarily being a bar that has to be met. But if there are no convictions, who is it that decides at the end of the day that the Republican frontrunner should be barred from serving as president?
Well, in the first instance, secretaries of state have to decide. Whichever way they go, whether they say that maybe he's an insurrectionist, but we want it to be left to the people, even though the Constitution says that they are disqualified, the same way that, Barack Obama or George W. Bush or, Bill Clinton, they might all be very popular, but they can't run because they're disqualified, having been president twice. This guy might be disqualified because he tried to overturn the very Constitution he pledged to protect. When it's decided one way or the other by secretaries of state, that will go up to the U.S. Supreme Court. They will be in quite a pickle because a majority of them, I think, are, either beholden to him or quite right-leaning, but they are also pledged to uphold the Constitution. If they decide that he is eligible to run, they'll have to explain why. And we'll all be interested in hearing that explanation, given the clear language of the 14th Amendment.
Okay. So that was briefly speaking about the 14th Amendment and the events of January 6th that Trump played part of, his actions, his words, his influence, creating a situation where you had actual citizens of the United States storming the Capitol and attacking the Capitol, becoming a person that pretty much turned their back on the country. It could be easily looked at that way. So now he's trying to become president again. The 14th Amendment, is potentially a way that he may face a consequence as far as trying to become president again. What do we think about the possibilities and this notion that this could stop Trump from even contending? I'll go with MD first.
Of course.
Nah, let Mike go, man. Let Mike go.
I like to build a mic because I know Mike will bring it all together. But go ahead.
I think Democrats are too soft and cupcake and wussy to even make this something real. Even with the law on their side. Even with the law on their side, they're going to be too soft to do anything. It's going to be a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of, what Judge Judy used to say, a whole lot of who shot John, and nothing's going to happen because Trump is going to punk them and he's going to say, I'm on a ticket, do something. And guess what they're going to do? Nothing. Concise, easy, Trevor can't get mad at that. I'm done.
Okay, Ricardo.
I don't know what's gonna. To be perfectly honest, if you're gonna use the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment, if we're gonna go by, if I want to say if MD remembers, the whole point of the 14th Amendment in the constitutional sense of it is that it grants the citizenship and equal rights to anyone born naturalized in the United States of America. Now, I'm trying to figure out which part of it they're going to use to stop him really from coming back in. Mike does have a point, but I mean, are they going to use the due process clause? Are they going to use the equal protection clause? What specifically in the 14th Amendment are they going to be using? That's where
Article 3 is what they're using.
Okay, so
right. The dude explained it. So basically, Article 3 in the 14th Amendment was a compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, that's what it was. It was a compromise between the radical Republicans and Johnson, in the sense of, because the radical Republicans wanted to get, they basically wanted to call the Confederates as traitors, and that's what it should have been. But Johnson was too focused on trying to mend the Confederacy back with the Union.
Gotcha.
So the compromise in that particular article was, okay, we'll allow them to go back into state legislative bodies, but we putting this clause in saying, hey, look, don't go against the United States again, or this gonna happen. That's basically what it was. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Which lets you know how shoddy Andrew Johnson was.
Does it come as a surprise to anyone? Probably no.
I mean, you know.
But I mean, in a sense, it could stop him, because if the clause is in there and it states pretty much in layman terms what it is, then I don't see. I mean, if you're going to use a strong, I want to say concise lawyer that is a constitutionalist lawyer, who by any means is going to block out the political nonsense that you're going to hear from one side and the next, who's going to be neutral, then by all means, if he could go all the way in, I don't see why he couldn't stop Trump from going forward. But again, this is Trump we're talking about here, and people seem to be terrified of this man. I don't know why, except for one or two judges that are presiding over his case. I would love to see how they will move forward. If you get a strong constitution, I'm sure MD backs me on this one. If you get a strong constitutionalist lawyer who is neutral in terms of not being swayed politically, then yes, he could pull out all the stops and then say, hey, this is the reason why I think it won't work for you, Trump, and this is why I think we would have to remove you off the ticket. Otherwise, I just don't see it happening. I just think there's spineless people who are terrified to go against him. You have the contenders now who are in the field that are just not going to mention his name, but then they're like, oh, you know who we're talking about. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, if you could say that at this point.
Yo, they acting like he's Vibes Cartel. He the duppy down the lane. They terrified of him.
Right, they're literally terrified of this man. I'm
terrified
not quite
of him.
Like, what is he going
I don't think they're terrified of Trump at all. I think that depending on who you are, if you're a politician, they're terrified of the base that could end their career. They could primary, but it depends on. I mean, like there's certain people, they don't answer to voters. There's certain people that were not elected; they were appointed.
Sir, everybody answers to voters. You know why? Because even if you specifically don't, your boss does. Think about it. It. A lot of cops like to go around and act like I could do what I want. I do what I want. And 90% of the time they do. But once it goes up to that top sheriff and the guy that's got to get elected and you get enough of them angry black women outside, changes all kinds of minds. Oh, I don't know why he did that. Throw him to the bus. Just got to go high enough. And Trump is willing to go high enough. That's the thing. Same thing like she said about the elections when all they had to do was have one person raise their hand and be like, this looks crooked. Nobody did it. Not even my dog Bernie, who I actually love, but he suckered out then. They sold out. Nobody, I don't know what country y'all think y'all live in. Nobody's going to stick their head out. No one's going to put their head out the window. They're going to wind the window down, take a little sniff of corruption, go back inside, and be glad that they in Barbados. That's all they're going to do. They're not going to stop Trump because Trump's the only one who'll say it. He'll say something. We don't even know what it is, but he'll say it. You remember when he had Hillary and he's like, what? You just mad because I'm using a system that we made this corrupt better than you are. They were like, oh my God, you can't say that. Trump will say it. That's the only thing. And that's why they love him. Say I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you may not be wrong on that, but yeah, you're right. These idiots they're not standing up to Trump. They're not creating any sort of resistance to Trump. They're just waiting and seeing. Even in the debates, he's not even. They're so pathetic. He doesn't even bother even participating in the debates. But the thing is, Trump is such a loser that Trump will get in Trump's way. More than half of these litigation that he's dealing with is his own doing. Like, I mean, he went out of his way. He told on himself. He's on video. He's on the phone, incriminating himself. It's like
this is what you
so
don't
he will get in his
understand.
own way.
You don't get it. He can't get in his own way. Why are you not seeing the genius of this asshole?
It's not genius. I think you're giving a little kid too much credit. Like,
I'm not giving him any credit. I'm saying he realized who his base was. This man can say, I'll grab him in the coochie, and then have people who just left church say what a wonderful person he is. He's gold.
I get that part.
He
I get that
knows
part.
it. There's nothing you can do. He doesn't. The reason he doesn't go to the debates is because the debate is already having its desired effect. People are showing that they're not him. That's all he needs. Show that you're not me. Show that you're one of them. And that's why DeSantis sucks, because he thought he figured it out. He's like, I'm going to out Trump. But you a punk. You can't, because you're trying to out Trump while trying to act like you're kind of civil. You can't. You have to throw civility out the window and become a total prick. And he can't do it. Yeah, he can do it legislatively, but he can't do it morally. He keeps trying to act like, well, I don't want to, because if I trash this, then I'll never get the votes in the general. So I don't want to. Trump don't care.
He really doesn't. He really doesn't.
Why y'all don't get it? He don't care. He don't care. He'll say everything on the phone. Yeah, man. You know, I killed 2 hookers and an immigrant yesterday, man. They was on being near my car. And then they'll be like, look at his strong immigration policy. Keep them away from the cars.
The same one that says I was down there with and I was the one that helped with World Trade Center. You were nowhere near the World Trade Center site. I was like, no one. I was like, really? You really said that and nobody took you up on that? Yeah. It's crazy.
Bro, the man said I could stand in the middle of the street and shoot somebody and still get the elected. Come on. He knows.
Yep. He did say that.
He knows. He made fun of a handicapped man on television.
And no one said nothing.
Matter of fact, I'll do it even one better. He's so smart that he changed the definition of the word lie. Think about it. Used to be like, hey man, the sky is orange. Boy, stop lying. Whoa, that's my alternative fact. You're not gonna beat that.
I mean,
you can't beat that.
Yeah.
And people say it more than, oh my God. The only thing that people say more than that is lives matter. That's it. That's the only thing.
Mike, I think
all lives matter, or fat booties matter, or whatever matters. That's the only thing people say more than these are my facts. These are not. He made
Mike,
lies acceptable.
It sounds like Trump is backing up his dump truck full of money in your house there, Mike.
Hey, you know what? Here's the funny
Mike got bought and paid.
Bought and paid. I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm saying he figured out the system. You know who Trump is? Trump is the guy who tied a string to a quarter and he's putting it in the machine and he's looking at the manager of the game place while he's doing it. And you ain't gonna do nothing. That's who he is. He's the guy that reaches his hand under the machine and grabs the soda and pulls it out and looks at the guy who just filled it and he laughs in his face. That's him.
And the sycophants eat all of it up.
And his voters are the kids that are sitting outside going, I wish I could be that cool.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
It's
that's the alternative. That's the alternative universe we're living in there. That's crazy.
It can't
I'm
be
just saying,
alternative because it's the one we live in. It's the now. The alternative universe is the one where actually good stuff happens. That is a fairy tale, sir. Hey, give me a plot and I'll write it for you. That's how much of a dream you're living in. Where justice prevails. Take that crap to SV Unit or whatever the hell new show they got. Justice doesn't prevail.
I'll just say this, man. I'll say this. It's gonna be hard pressed to try to get a case without a conviction of the Article 3. Section 3. It's gonna be hard. Difficult. I will say that, in my own little lawful office that I got, I would say the link would be how am I going to tie his current charges into what we could consider insurrection. Now, remember, insurrection is basically rebellion against the government, which at the time Trump was the government. But if we look at it from an aspect of a body of government, that's where you may have to bring it. The body of government, which would have been one, the House floor, which is a physical body of government, is going to be hard trying to tie Trump into that because Trump wasn't there. Second is going to be.
Wait. You said Trump wasn't there.
I mean, Trump wasn't physically with those people at J6. That's what I'm saying.
They go to coward element, right? So he said, "We're all going to go to the Capitol," and then they went that way, and then he went the other way.
He said it just like that. The Capitol. He said it just like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
but it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard to try to tie him into that. Now, the second thing would be the governing body, which is the electors. That's where you may have a better argument. Meaning remember, one of his charges is conspiracy to obstruct rights. What rights was he trying to obstruct? He was trying to obstruct suffrage rights of the people through the electors. The electors themselves, based off of government policy, is a governmental body in and of itself. So you may have an argument by saying, hey, look, technically you did try to obstruct the people's rights based off of what you did to the electors. Now, you have a better argument linking him to that than the J6, because he's got plenty of people around him that are charged with being fake electors,
right?
I.e., obstructing the rights or the suffrage rights of the people. Mm-hmm. That in and of itself is insurrection.
Yes, it is.
Of a governmental body.
So MD, what do you feel outside of the legal beagle type stuff? Do you feel that Donald Trump actually made January 6th happen? He influenced it. He motivated it.
Yeah, of course. He was the motivation behind the MAGA idiots going to jail. Yeah, I never. Of course, that's always been my position. Always.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always been my position.
MD is just about what can be proven. What can be proven. He is an on book man. Mm-hmm. Is it on the books? If it's not on the books, then it can't happen. It don't matter what you want to call it. It ain't on the books, so it didn't happen. That's MD.
Well, I ain't gonna say all that now. Now, innocent to proven guilty at the end of the day. He's been charged with a particular crime. But I have the ability to look through that and see what was done. That's why they need to hire me on the defense team, and I can get Trump up out of it. But Again, because I'm telling you that obstruction of rights charge, that's the key charge in the whole indictment. That's the key charge. I don't see no way that he can get around that.
But again,
based on, go ahead.
That's what I talked about earlier. Trump getting in the way of Trump. He did that. He actually did those things. Like it was, he got over one thing, he did one thing, then he did another, then another and another. But he's going outwardly overboard with stuff. Like you've already done, like, okay, you always say to yourself, woof, that was really bad. I can't get much worse than that. And then it'll go to another extreme, another extreme, another extreme. And one of the strategies that Donald Trump implements is, well, I have this controversy. If I make 2, 3, 4, 5 more controversies, there'll be so many, everybody's heads will spin and they'll forget about the original one or the one that looks really bad because there's so much going on that people won't believe in it. They'll think that it's all fake and people are picking on me, So that's a strategy he takes, but at some point, it's shooting him in the foot because it's just all this stuff. And that's why, they're saying he's not going to go to jail, but how? You have voice recordings of you literally conspiring to get fake votes. You have the fake electors. You have all these things that are on videotape, pictures, audio. You can only get by so much until stuff starts sticking. I don't care who you are. At some point, it'll start sticking.
Have you been listening to me this whole show?
You might.
Are you listening? Is this thing on? He's good.
Go ahead.
He literally did all this the first time. You remember the first time when everybody thought he wasn't going to win? And I was the only fool going out saying, y'all going to mess around and let him win. And he won. He did all this the first time. They dug up everything they could think of. He did this. He grabbed this. He's got a tape of this. And he paid this off and this off. And it worked.
Which he did. He done Stormy Daniels.
It's going to work again. There's nobody.
He ain't gonna be able to win again. He's not going to be able to win. He's not.
You know what? My G. Today is 9/26/23. 9/26/23. I need you to note this down today. 8:33.
Tape machines are rolling.
Please
Tape machines
do,
are rolling.
sir. So when this happens and I come on here, all I want to hear from you is, I am now others. I should have listened to Mike. And then I want your name to be others in the thing. That's what I want. I want your name to be others from that point on, because you living in a dream world where justice happens. When's the last time something just happened?
2020, when he lost by 7 million votes. He lost by 7 million. He didn't lose by 538 votes like Al Gore did in 2000. Sir. He lost by friggin' 7 million. It wasn't even close.
He lost.
Matter of fact, every election since No, you guys don't see the totality. You're up close on a picture. You need to pull back and see the totality of what's going on. He has lost in 2018. His candidates have lost. In 2019, he lost. 2020, he lost. 2022, he lost. I'm trying to tell you, even in 2016, he still lost the popular vote by 3 million. He hasn't done much winning. I'm just telling you.
So are you denying the election? Hold on, MD. You're a reverse election denier.
No, I'm not. Keep going. Go ahead.
Let me ask
you. Go ahead. Well, how am I a reverse denier?
You just said he lost in 2016, the popular vote. Yeah, you said the popular vote.
He did lose the popular vote.
He won the electorate.
He won the electric the college. But as far as the popular vote, he lost by 3 million. Again, he lost by 7 million in 2020. Huh?
You mean the thing that counts?
I'm just saying. Okay. It's not so like it was an overwhelming wave. Like when Ronald Reagan won in 1980, that was a huge tsunami of a win. There was no doubt in that.
Let me ask you a question. What happened? What happened when Clinton lost? Who won after Clinton?
Well, first of all, Clinton never lost. He won and he won. and then he
Oh,
left.
excuse me.
He left in
What happened
2000.
after
He
Clinton
left.
left office? I
He,
apologize. I apologize.
Oh, he
he
talking about
What
Al
happened after
Gore.
Clinton
You
left
talking
office?
about Gore?
after he left office, then we got George Bush.
Okay. Why?
Because the supervisor of elections in Florida was a close friend of the Bushes, all right, and magically he was able to win by 538 or whatever votes after the Republican leaning Supreme Court at the time just said, we're not doing any more recounts. Stop recounting. Bush is the winner.
Yep.
And then we just accepted it. That's what happened.
So Republican. Okay. Now what happens after Obama?
So after Obama, that dumbass Hillary Clinton screwed over Bernie Sanders, got the test scores, got the questions to the answers in one debate, did a bunch of other shady crap, and then took for granted her opponent, which you never do. You never do
what
that.
happened?
He won the college.
And then
the
they went and they got her.
college.
They made her emails more important than policies.
And
then Republicans republic, because that's what they do. Republicans republic.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So guess what? Biden got in there, and now Republicans are Republican, and Trump gonna get his ass right back in there. So like I said,
No, he's not.
9,
No, he's
26,
not.
23,
So
8, 37.
So since in the last 20 years, only one Republican has won the popular vote. That's George Bush in 2004 because of 9/11. Because back then people were very patriotic. That's the only reason he won that. So when you look at the trend of how things are going, now I will say that one problematic thing is Florida, but Democrats seem to just gave up on Florida altogether. I don't know why they did that, but because it was a purple state and now they just said, hey, to hell with it. But I'm just looking at what's been happening in the elections, and it's not been good for Republicans. They've been taking a beating. The only thing that you see is an illusion. No, hold on, hear me out. The only thing you're seeing is an illusion of parity, meaning that they gerrymandered states. There's right now, Ron DeSantis, he just redrew the map in some district, but that's being sent to the courts because they're saying it's illegitimate the way it's being drawn. So that may not pan out. If we didn't have a bunch of races they don't even have to show up. They just know that they're going to win. Sometimes they run unopposed a lot of these elections, state by state. There's so many of them like that. I'm just saying. So
you're proving my point.
Yeah, but that's an illusion of like actual competitiveness. There's nothing like that. When things are straight, when things are straightforward, like one-on-one, Republican versus Democrat, and there's no real strings attached. When it's straight up running, the Republicans normally lose. And then when it's under the rules that the Republicans drew out the map or whatever crazy thing they did in the state, the race is usually close. So things are not what the American public is not. No, I'm just saying the American public is not about the Republican policies. They're deeply unpopular. I'm just saying, if you look at these polls,
conservatism, you correct. Like I told you, conservatism is dead.
I'm not saying any lies.
I want to pinch your cheeks,
Mike.
I want to pinch your cheeks. You're adorable because you know what he's saying. You know, I want y'all to hear him. You know what he's saying? He's saying,
what am I saying?
If you stop Republicans from Republican, Democrats will win. But you can't.
Yes, you can.
You're literally saying, hey, Mike, hey, others, if they stop doing the stuff they do, Democrats will win more. But they're not going to stop. You're proving my point. They're not going to stop. Even when hey, you can't gerrymander this hard. Oh, oops, my bad. I'll gerrymander a little bit less hard. That's all that's going to happen. They're going to keep Republican.
But I think what Venkat is saying is the conservative demographic is dwindling.
Yes,
Like
it
it
No, I
ain't no
get that.
denying that. You know what I'm saying?
I get that. I'm not fighting with that. I get it. I get that. Yo, I get that. If we ran a straight popular election, a Republican wouldn't win for another 8-10 years. I get that. Maybe even more. I get that.
It'd be more than that. It'd be decades.
Okay. But I'm telling
Because
you, it ain't gonna happen.
on the issues, the country is not on their wavelength. The policies of what comes out of the Democratic Party is usually in line with what the majority of this country wants.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How many years now has marijuana been okay by the public?
What? Since what's the name? Switch Obama out. Joe Biden had to let him know, hey, switch that position. You know, but other than that,
No.
what we're
I
going to
didn't
say,
say
what,
the
5,
Democrats.
6 years?
I said the public. The public.
No, I mean,
more than
the
that.
recent.
Been smoking weed forever. Like,
No,
Exactly.
but that's on the down. That's on the down low. But as far as like perception,
they've had polls for over a decade saying that the public is okay with marijuana for recreational use. They've had polls. Is it okay for
that's a
recreational use
libertarian
in
policy,
America?
by the way.
I'm not mad at that. Is it right now? Right now, is it legal in America?
No.
Oh, well, in a lot of
No,
states,
it is not.
In a lot of
Federally,
states,
it's not. Federally, it's
I
illegal.
said America.
Federally.
I said America was illegal
but I'm
in
just
America.
saying, in some states, it is legal though. I'm just saying.
Yo, you're arguing like you my girlfriend. You're not my girlfriend. You don't need to pick little battles. You're wrong.
The DEA can come in at any point in time in some of these dispensaries and do what they want.
Hey,
because it's
not even the
federally
DEA.
illegal.
The police run up in there and take all their money on a regular basis. That's why they only deal in cash and they move it.
No, not when there's money. Not when there's money involved like that, like allegedly legal money. Do you do that? You create anarchy to that system, and now that's going to be a problem.
Happens.
So,
well, what they do is they do audits. They do audits. Yeah, they do audits.
They run up in there, they'll audit your stuff, and then your money will disappear. They do it on the road. People drive on the road and they arrest them, and if you ain't got receipts,
they're notorious for that.
They'll take it.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely do that
because they can. What world you're living in a world where you think fairness is a thing? It's not. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. If that's every one of your arguments. If you know what if is the male version of women saying I feel like. It's not based in reality.
Oh Lord, Mike, really?
It's not based in my stuff is based in reality. They're going to do what they're going to do. It don't matter how stupid it sounds. It doesn't matter how wrong it is. It doesn't matter how unjust it might be. They're going to get away with it. Why? Because they always have. And they have, what do we say? If we need more honest police. And what do I say? There's no such thing. Because if you're an honest sergeant, then guess what? Your sheriff isn't honest. He's going to break you.
Yeah, of course, yeah,
okay,
I get that.
We need an honest DA. Well, the guy above him, he's gonna break him. We need honest senators. Well, the guy above him, the higher guy in the committee's gonna break him. It doesn't matter. You can fight the good fight, but that's just a TV show. In real life, they're gonna impeach you in front of your wife, and then they're gonna when you fall in line, they're gonna say, okay, you're acquitted on 16 charges of impeachment. That's real life. All right, shut up. Go ahead.
Basically, what Mike said, just drop a bomb on him, and that's that. That's what Mike just said. Drop a bomb on him.
I'm sorry, MD. My bad, bro.
It's all good. It's all good.
Y'all got to stop me. I'll be feeling it.
Now you're good.
So any we're about to wrap up. Closing on the show or any particular topic we talked about or anything. We'll start with MD.
Nah, man, great show as usual, man. Hey, it is what it is. Hey, quick question: we doing Wrestling with Reality tomorrow? I don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right, go.
Trevor is yeah. Yeah, because Trevor did not say anything about wrestling reality not happening.
Yeah, not
Okay,
with the,
I just wanted to know.
yeah, not with
Well,
the talk about Jade today, so I don't think that's something you guys can miss. That's a huge news today coming out.
right,
So
right.
Yeah,
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 there's a
lot
lot
of
to
hot
cover.
topics.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
to cover. There's no way we could be missing wrestling reality tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I was
I
just
felt
checking,
like
man.
MD was
I ain't got
coming at
nothing
me.
else to add.
I felt
Coming
like
at you
MD
when?
was coming for me when he said cult of personality.
Oh no. No, man. Hey, yeah. Hey, like I said, man, great show, man. Go. Speaking of lame ducks, go Ducks. They beat the
You
Colorado
are such an
Buffalo.
ass.
really empty. Dig it in.
That was horrible.
That was perfect, MD. That was absolutely perfect. I got a
I just
tear
thought I'd
going
add
down.
that in.
That's right. Ricardo, anything you want to say before we close out?
Just because I wasn't able to chime in for the polls with DeSantis and the rest of the cream of the crop that's available right now for the GOP side. I don't believe polls anymore. I mean, we've seen from Trump's first tenure that the polls were never correct. And they kept saying a whole bunch of stuff. So I don't really go by the polls that much. I mean, I give them a smidge of like some kind of there's accuracy, but I just for the most part believe most of it. DeSantis, I've said this from the onset or the inception of the show. I just don't see him getting that much play from the conservative side, and you're going to slowly see him dwindle or slide more and more so. And I guess it's a personality thing. They just don't like him. I just don't see it. I just don't see him going further. Again, anything can happen between now and going into the elections, but I just don't see him picking up steam after this. He's just gonna keep sliding, and the others are just gonna keep rolling up or keep increasing in terms of their value, in terms of how they look or perception wise. Again, the only sticking point is if you can find a lawyer that is strong enough, that is a constitutionalist, that can use the provision that MD mentioned, then perhaps they might be able to stop you know who. But again, there's spineless people out there that are terrified of him, so I just don't see that happening, and that's my point.
Okay, so it looks like Trevor is saying that he's not doing wrestling reality tomorrow. That's news to me. I didn't think that was a thing, but okay, so he's not. Oh, all right.
Venkat, you
we
got
have
it.
Oh man. Oh Lord. All right.
You can run it. You can run it.
Okay. I guess we'll have
You're supposed to be. You're the backup A Mike. Get on your job.
What does that mean? Oh my God.
The backup A Mike.
Oh, I'm gonna be going into work tomorrow at 4:00 in the morning. I mean, I got to get up like 2 in the morning, so I got to go to sleep shortly.
Go ahead and get
try.
some rest in, man.
I'll try to do it tomorrow. I'll let you guys know in the chat. I guess I'll try to do it. I don't know. I'll see. But then again, how I feel now may not be the same as when I get out tomorrow. We'll see.
We understand. Ain't no big deal. They ain't gonna be mad for a week. They'll be all right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Hey, eat you a couple of bananas, man. You'll be all right. ain't that what y'all do?
Who's the you?
You know who he's talking about.
Oh my God. All right. So Mike, you got your last say.
Oh, you remember?
Yes. You were the first one to talk.
No, I wasn't. MD was.
No, you went, and then MD went, and then Ricardo.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Hey, I ain't saying nothing, man. I ain't saying nothing.
He really need to go back and listen to how much he be ignoring me. He really think I'm making it up.
I don't ignore you, Mike. That's not a thing.
MD is the first person you chose.
Oh Lord. Okay, so Mike, anything else you want to elaborate on this show?
I don't even want to talk no more.
Oh, come on, Mike.
I'm throwing a fit.
Oh, okay. All right.
I do got something to say. Maria G.
Okay, go ahead.
Much love. I'm not 70 years old. I'm sorry. I'm 43, and I would play dominoes. But I do like. I'm Jamaican. So I would play dominoes, but now I'm not 70. Sorry. But much respect. You were on fire today. Fantastic. Great show, gentlemen. CM Punk's the man, and Bump MD. All right, y'all. Holla at your boy.
All right, wait, hold on. Well, you can't just be saying that on the show. CM Punk is not the man. What are you talking about, man?
You heard what I said. I said what I said.
Okay.
CM Punk's the man.
All right, so I want to give a shout out to Tequila. Want to give a shout out to Trevor, Nini. Give a shout out to Maria G. Appreciate all the support in the chat. Next week, we will not be having a show next week. There'll be a bye week next week. No show next week. But on the 10th, we'll be coming back. And on the 10th, it'll be episode 6. Episode 6 will be Trump versus Obama. Who was better? We'll dive into each man, see what each did while in office, the effects of the country, different things of that nature, and we'll see if we could figure out who ultimately was the best between the two. So we'll see, not next week, but the week after, which is October the 10th, for that political smackdown. For my esteemed panel, MD, Mike, Ricardo, Trevor in the clouds, straight hating back there, not trying to do wrestling reality, but whatever. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and until then, we'll be back bigger and better in 2 weeks. Have a great night.
Peace.
She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.